Good morning, everybody. Good morning, guys. Thank you, Jackie.
I'm Jackie Brown. I remember you from last Saturday.
Can you get that?
Jackie?
Can you get that for me? Thanks. We're getting started here, y'all. Sorry, we're running a couple minutes late. I had to have a second cup of coffee here, and we got some people that are coming in, so I want to wait till everybody got here and got situated. So give us just another minute, if you would, for those of you that are online. Come on in. And y'all can sit up here. You can sit on the couch. There's a table up there, whatever makes you comfortable. So, okay. If you can see the screen from way back there, then you don't need glasses like me. That's good. So we've got a full agenda today. I've always promised you to try to meet my time limit. I've asked for 3 hours today, so I'm hoping we can get through it. But I want everybody that's online, that's in the building as well, feel free to jump in with any questions, any comments, anything like that, and we will get rolling here. As you can see on the screen, this is our agenda for today. We're going to be talking about your database, your sphere of influence, and I'll use those words interchangeably, so know that both of those things are the same, one and the same. How many contacts do I need to reach out? What is a pop-by? Why do we write handwritten note cards? And then how can I plan and track my measurables? So it is a full gambit. For those of you that are online, I'm going to email you all the documents and all the things that you see on the screen today. I've already got the email prepped. I just got to make note of who's on the line and who I need to send the stuff to. So I'm going to kill my video just so I don't kill my bandwidth here when I'm sharing all this stuff. All right, so what is a database? Database is everybody that you know that knows you. And whenever we jump into this, I have a quick study guide that the folks here have in hand, and I'm trying to find it on my screen so I can share it with y'all. There it is. Nope. Hang on. There we go. Man, y'all, I can't find it to save my life today to do this thing the right way. Let's do this. Anyway, it's called How to Build a Real Estate Database from Scratch. What I will advise everybody that's on the call and everybody here, the first place you should start with is your phone. Anybody that's on your phone, for some reason or another, you've had to have a communication with them at some point in your history. And it's the quickest and fastest way to gather information. I have a database spreadsheet that I will send out to everybody that's here in the class, as well as everybody online. It's the fastest and easiest way to gather information because you've got their phone number on your phone, you've got their name, then it's just a matter of getting additional information. You will need their email address. You will need their mailing address. So if you don't have those things, then it's a great conversation to get started, to reintroduce yourself, and to have that conversation about how hot the market is and letting them know that you want to be their real estate agent for now and forever, and who they might know that might be thinking about buying or selling. All of those can happen in a very normal and easy conversation. So I want you to know that there's a couple of different dialogues that I'll be sending out as well that are part of this class. And one's called the mayor campaign. As you can imagine, whenever somebody's running for office, they have to ask somebody for the vote. So when somebody's running for mayor, whether they're running for Congress, they're running for the state Senate, they're running for the Soil and Land Conservation District representative. By the way, if you go online, look for the results. Look for Harold Moore. That's my father-in-law. I wrote him in this year because the the Soil and Water Conservation District person was running unopposed, so I wrote my father-in-law's name in to see if my mail-in vote actually got counted. But anybody that's running for office or something like that is always asking people for their vote. So the same way with real estate, you've got to be ready, willing, and able to ask for somebody's support in your real estate career. And the conversation goes something as simple as this. If you don't mind, I'm going to role play with you, Jackie, when you come back.
I'm right here.
So I'm calling through my phone because I need people's addresses and email addresses, and I have Jackie Brown, who I've known forever. She's my best bud. She used to work at Costco, and I've gotten into real estate, and she doesn't have a real estate license yet. Okay, so the phone call simple is as simple as this: ring, 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 ring.
Hello?
You got to speak up so they can hear you online.
Hello?
Take your mask off. You can be. You're 6 feet away from me.
Okay.
Ring, ring.
Hello.
Hey there, Jackie. It's Bill Beckwith. How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm doing great. I just wanted to call and check in on you. How are things going over at Costco?
You know, I'm retired from Costco now.
Have you really?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Well, congratulations. What are you doing with your time?
Well, let's enjoy retirement right now.
Netflix. That's what you're doing. You're doing Netflix, right? All day long, every day?
Netflix.
That's it. All right. Well, cool. Well, listen, I don't know if you've seen any of my my posts online or if you got the Facebook notification, but I've actually changed careers and I'm now in real estate. I'm working with Caldwell Banker Realty.
Oh, congratulations.
Well, thank you. Thank you. And so, you know, as part of being a professional realtor, one of the things I like to do is keep people apprised of not only the market, but other things that we have access to. Being in real estate, we get all kinds of opportunities, and I would love to, you know, share those with you and your husband. But I realize I don't have your email address and I don't have your home mailing address. Can I get those from you?
Sure. JACQUELYNB 173@gmail.com.
Cool. And
My mailing address
123 Main Street. Okay.
123 Main Street.
All right, I got it. Cool. Well, listen, I'm going to be putting stuff in the mail to you, and watch for emails from me. Let me ask you something, Jackie. If you or your husband or a friend or family or even a previous coworker were looking for somebody to help them with buying or selling real estate, do you have a real estate professional that you refer them to already?
You know, honestly, I don't.
Well, I want to be that person. Okay, I want to be that person for now and forever. And I'm just going to ask you, you know, would you be willing to let me be that person for you?
Absolutely.
Okay. So that conversation can go one way or the other. Okay. She can say, no, I don't have anybody. And yes, she's 99% of the time when you ask that question and they don't have somebody, that's how easy that conversation is. Because I'm going to prove to you, I'm going back into the phone call mode, Jackie, that I'm going to be that real estate professional that, just like you have your favorite electrician, plumber, doctor, I want to be your favorite real estate professional so you can refer me to your friends and family members, okay?
Okay.
All right. The other side of that is, Jackie, if you or a friend or family member or a former coworker had a real estate need, you need to buy or sell real estate, do you have a professional that you already refer them to?
Yes.
Oh, well, who is that?
John Doe.
Oh, over at Remax?
Over Remax.
Yeah, John's a pretty good guy. I like him. I've done a few deals with him in the past. Well, listen, if John is out of town, he's in Europe, or he's on one of those cruises that he's always going on, could I be your backup plan?
Absolutely.
Oh, well, thank you. I appreciate that. I'm gonna shoot you a little note with some of my business cards, and if something happens and John's not available, please feel free to contact me. Okay.
Sure.
All right. So she said yes, she has somebody, and usually when somebody has somebody, you're not going to break that relationship. But you do want to offer to be Plan B. And when we go through how we sort and qualify our databases, we're going to talk about how and where we categorize these folks. But that's the simple and easy conversation. If you already have all that information, you can make the phone call and let them know that you're in real estate and that the market's super hot, and if they know of somebody. So we'll try that same conversation with Jackie again, but she and I have all of her information, and I just want to confirm it, okay, but I'm also going to prime the pump a little bit. So ring, ring.
Hello.
Hey, Jackie, it's Bill Beck with Over Coldwell Banker. How you been?
Oh, great. How are you?
I'm doing great. Listen, last time we talked, you told me that you had, retired from Costco, and I don't know if you've been watching the news. They're finally starting to report the news, but the market here is so crazy hot that we're literally having to go knock on people's doors because houses are selling in hours. We don't have any houses to sell. So I was wondering, do you know of anybody that might have been thinking about or talking about selling their home?
Actually, my next door neighbor is talking about relocating.
Oh my gosh, really? Who's your neighbor?
Sarah Smith.
Okay, all right. And is she on at 121 or 125 Main Street?
She's at 125 Main Street.
Okay, well, cool. Well, I really appreciate that. Do you mind if I use your name when I call her?
Absolutely not.
Okay, cool. Well, thank you, and I appreciate it, and I'll let you know how it goes, okay?
All right.
All right. So one of the things I didn't do, I didn't warm up the conversation. All right, that's my fault. I started a little bit. I mentioned that she had retired from Costco, and halfway through, I knew that I hadn't done that. And so I really didn't do my job just now. My job in that instance is to actually talk to her about her retirement. What she's been doing, how's her husband. I mentioned it, but then I didn't dive into it a little bit. Let her talk about herself for a minute or so, and then I should have dove into the real estate. So that's my fault. And as soon as I started and got halfway through, I knew it. So that's how simple this is. You're gonna realize that you've gone down the wrong pathway, but you can quickly correct, because I could have jumped back in right after she mentioned her neighbor. I can just jump back into, so now that I got the information, I said thank you. Then I'm also going to jump in and say, so since the last time we talked, you're retired. Have you jumped into anything? Are you doing anything for fun? You got any new hobbies?
Yeah, working on my lawn more.
Your lawn? Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Oh, that's I hate lawn work. That's why I hire that stuff out. So you gotta warm the conversation first. I didn't do that properly, and I apologize on the call because I was so anxious to get to the information. Everybody on this call, everybody in this room, you have the not only the ability, but you have the responsibility to let people know how hot the market is. You're now seeing news, okay? But most of the news is that inventory is so low and blah 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 blah. They don't talk about it being a great time to buy, okay? Interest rates are below 3 across the country. There's never been real interest rates as low as they are. It's historically low. So I talked about anybody wanting to sell their house, but also if there's anybody that that wants to buy. The interest rates are historically low. People can afford a lot more house than they used to be able to. So I want you to know, Jackie, that even if, if I can, I'm going to talk to Sarah next door, but I want you to know that if anybody comes across your path that's, looking to buy, I want to be that person. So you get to mention both sides of the coin right now. I mean, it's a crazy time to sell, and it's also a crazy time to buy, because Jackie can affirm this. Houses that are going on the market that your buyers might be interested in are going like that. I'm snapping my fingers, y'all. You can't hear it. There you go. Did somebody else come in? No. Okay. So this class is meant to talk about prospecting opportunities and lead generation. The number one source for your business now and forever should be your database, your sphere of influence. Okay. The goal is you want to have between 70 and 80% of your business coming from that pool. And there's a lot of reasons for that, but the number one is they already know you, and now you just got to get them in the loop and understand that you want to help them and their family members, their friends, and their coworkers with their real estate needs. As somebody pointed out to me the other day, that they said, well, all of my friends already know real estate agents. Okay. Everybody in the world knows there's more real estate agents per capita. There's 34,000 licensees in the state of South Carolina, y'all. Okay. Everybody knows real estate, but not everybody knows and asks for referrals. Okay. And I say it, but people gloss over it. Your family needs to constantly know that you're in real estate. Okay. And it doesn't necessarily need to be your spouse or your significant other. They know because you're living it every day, but you need to remind everybody in your family, mom, dad, cousins, sisters, brothers, that you can help anybody anywhere with real estate. Okay. I give my mom grief all the time. She lives on the panhandle of Florida, And she's constantly telling me about this neighbor of hers, that neighbor of hers who just sold their house and they're moving to where I'm like, Mom, hello, call me. I can refer them out. Oh, I forgot, honey. And I'm like, so that, or I've had agents come in and their best friend from college called them to ask them if they were still in real estate. So that call right there is exciting. Like, oh yeah, I'm still in real estate. Why? Oh, well, because we just put our house on the market with ERA Realty, and I wondered if you had any buyers, if you could come show it to them. I could have helped you sell that house. Damn it. Pardon my French. But yeah, so those conversations are going to happen, y'all. Don't let it drive you nuts. But what it will do is it will drive home that you're not communicating enough with your sphere. Okay. And there's, let me see if I can get it on the screen this time. This is what the communications need to look like. I'm having a time today, y'all. Drinking coffee? Yeah, well, I haven't had my second cup of coffee yet, so that's probably why. Let me go find. There we go. No, that's not it. Close this. We've already done that one. There we go. All right. So on the screen, prospecting communications. All right. We're going to talk about sorting and qualifying your database. But here's literally what, when I was doing this, I was prescribed to do. And this is what I attempted and worked very hard to do. The people that are A's and A pluses, those are people who have said, like Jackie just said, she's willing to refer me, or people who have referred you in the past. As most of y'all on here are new to the business, you don't have those people, but you're going to aspire to have those people, okay? And as you can see, we want to do 30 to 33 communications a year to those people, and you're all going, oh my God, there's no way I can do that. Well, it actually is very simple. When you do the math, if you send them something every month, that's 12 of the 30 to 33. If you follow up that mailer 6 times, okay, so every other mailer, you're calling those people. You don't have to call them. It used to be we had to call them after every one, and I backed that down because that was just way too much work. I tried doing that for years, and it was just such a struggle. So follow-up calls, if you follow up 12 of those every other month, so that's 6. You do 4 pop buys. We're going to talk about those in a minute. A follow-up note card, there's 4 of those a year. 2 holiday cards and 2 birthdays. Now, if you haven't sold them a house, there isn't a house anniversary. Okay, so that knocks you down to 32. If you don't have 2 birthdays, that knocks you down to 31. If you don't like sending 2 holiday cards, just do at least 1 a year. That knocks you down to 30. Okay, that's how that 30 to 33 works. Now, the monthly mailer can be anything, y'all. I used to do newsletters, and then I started sending informational data, and there's, through all of our contacts and all of our tools and systems online, there's a ton of newsletters, there's a ton of informational pieces that you can print out and you can send in the mail. Now, somebody asked me, does email count instead of a mailer? Email counts, and using digital communication is important, but understand this. People get literally hundreds of emails a week, maybe even hundreds a day. I mean, I can't tell you how many emails I delete as soon as I turn my computer on every morning. So your email, if you're banking on that to be that personal touch, it's not going to be as effective as something in the mail. Okay. Direct mail, everybody says, well, I don't want you to do the direct mail stuff. You'll do it in the course of listing and selling homes, but I think it gets lost in all the clutter that people get in the mail. And sending out monthly mailers for me worked, because I'm going to include my business card and I'm going to follow up with a phone call. And it's as simple as calling, literally just calling to make sure they got it in the mail. I mean, the way the postal service is, y'all, you don't know. Hey, did you get that mailer I sent, about, fall tune-ups for your heating and air. I mean, it's as simple as something, as the article that you send them could just be that. I actually developed a coupon regimen where I would get coupons from local vendors, including Six Flags up in Rock Hill every year, and I would get their season pass coupons and all that stuff in March or April, whenever they would send them to me. And I would stick them in one of my monthly mailers to everybody, because Six Flags, everybody likes to go to Six Flags, and whether they get used or not, who cares? But the local pizza place, I would ask them and say, hey, do you guys ever do coupons? Because I'd love to include you in my monthly mailer. I send out about 200 pieces a month, and I'd love to include you guys at least once or twice a year if you'd be interested. I'm just promoting a business, but it also develops a relationship with that business owner, okay? Because who knows, they may need to buy or sell real estate, or have a friend or family member or one of their workers want to buy or sell real estate. So I'm going to do that, and I'm going to go by and visit them with a pop-by gift. We're going to talk about that in a little bit. I'm going to follow up either the phone calls or the pop-by with a note card, because I've seen them, I've talked to them, and then I picked 2 holidays that everybody else wouldn't pick, okay? Everybody does Christmas cards, so if you think about most people, they got 40 Christmas cards across their mantle or on top of their piano or hanging on a string. You get lost in that, I think. So find the ones that are unique to you. What holidays do you enjoy, and what holidays can you actually find cards for? I use New Year's and I use 4th of July. Okay. Because you could just use a celebration card. Doesn't have to be a Happy New Year card, but just celebration. And then there's all kinds of flag cards out there. So 4th of July was just super easy, and those are handwritten. And then birthday cards, the spouses I would do. And here's something I will for the guys in the room, the guys online. Birthday cards to children are okay as long as you know them. But I used to be a baseball coach for my kids. And when we would get the registration forms, not only would I get mom and dad's names and phone numbers, I would get their home addresses, and they had to have the kid's birthday on the registration to confirm how old they were for what league they're supposed to play in. So I would put them on my calendar to send them birthday cards. And I did this year after year after year. So after about 3 years, I had about 60 kids a year that I was sending birthday cards to, even though they weren't still on my team. And I'm a 39-year-old man sending 8 and 9-year-olds birthday cards. I realized I saw something on the news, and I was like, I should probably stop doing that, because they weren't clients of mine. The kid, so I stopped doing birthday cards to all the kids. That was just, when you really think about it, it's kind of creepy. Why is coach still sending me birthday cards after I haven't been on his team? And so I stopped doing that. But if it's somebody that's a friend, family member, coworker, somebody that you've sold a house to, you're certainly able to do that. I tell the story on myself. When I first learned to do this stuff, we actually had to write this stuff down. We didn't have all the computer software we have now and places to keep things. So we had a 3-ring binder, and we had these sheets that had all of this information that you have on there, including anniversary. And after about 3 weeks of gathering this information of all the people that were on my phone and in my database and people that I know, the instructor asked everybody, if you have any problems with gathering this information, raise your hand. So I got a problem. They said, well, what's it? I said, this whole thing about asking people their anniversaries, I just think that's kind of creepy to call somebody up and say, hey, when's your wedding anniversary? And one of the seasoned agents, because I've been in the business for several years, y'all, but I hadn't ever thought of this. And they were like, no, that's their house anniversary when they bought the house. I was like, oh, crap. Okay. That makes more sense. That's easier to do. Okay. But what happens is, in the course of getting to know people and talking to people on a regular basis, you actually do find out when their wedding anniversaries are. If you're of that type and you're touchy-feely, I am not, okay? Sending them a happy anniversary card is a cool thing, okay? Because I've had people in the car with me, and we're going to look at houses, and we don't find anything. So you guys want to go out next weekend? Pull up some other listings in some of the other neighborhoods that you said you're interested in. No, we're going to the mountains for our wedding anniversary. Oh, that's pretty cool. Ding, ding, ding. Then I had their wedding anniversary. Well, I'm not the touchy-feely type to do that, but I tried to follow the system, so I would put their wedding anniversary and try to remember, put them on my calendar. So that's how that whole thing rolls. And then, again, A's and A pluses are people who referred you or will refer you. B prospects, we touch them 24 times a year. B prospects is everybody that's in your database right now. Everybody that's in your database right now are Bs, because you haven't asked them the qualifying question as to whether they would be willing to refer you if they have another real estate agent professional that they're referring business to. So everybody in your sphere right now is a B, and your goal is to go through that entire list and ask them that question and either elevate them to an A or drop them to a D. And Ds are people who we don't necessarily spend any time or energy or money on staying in front of. But if they ever do call us because we're plan B, we want to make sure we have their information. Okay. Now, let me go back real quick on everybody that's in your database. And as you gather information, every time you talk to them, you should try to learn something new or pay attention and listen for something new. In this business, y'all, listening is the key. The less you talk, the better your career is going to be. And the reason I say that is when you're listening, you're going to pay attention, and then you're going to even remember to make notes. I would literally have a yellow pad sitting next to me, either on the phone or in my car when I would go do pop buys and visit them, so that I would write stuff down because my memory is horrible. So if son or daughter got accepted to Clemson or to South Carolina or Alabama, I don't care. If they got accepted to a college, I'm going to make note of that, because the next time I talk to them, I'm going to ask, how's Johnny doing at Alabama? That you remembered that about them is going to reach deeper than you can ever understand. Okay, it's going to actually impact them. Now, do I have that kind of memory? No. But if I keep notes in my database about them, and then the next time I talk to them, I pull their information up and I have that note. Jackie just retired. Well, Jackie, what you been doing for the last 3 months since you retired? That kind of stuff. I mean, I know it sounds maybe trivial a little bit, but it's a salesman's technique, right, Michael?
That's right.
A salesman's technique to deepen that relationship. They're gonna think they're gonna think you have the memory of a whatever. I can't. Now, Cynthia, our office assistant, she remembers everybody she went to high school with. She knows what school they went to. She knows where they live now. I mean, I'm like, how do you remember all that stuff? I can't even remember more than 3 people I went to high school with. So some people just have that kind of memory, are more empathetic and they do that better. I'm not one, and I realized I had to keep really good notes because that just helped me when I'm talking. And it can be. And now we see stuff on Facebook and Instagram and Twitter when they post stuff about their family or their own selves. Reach out to them and then make note of it so that the next time you see them or talk to them, you bring that up, because it's a big deal in their mind that you remembered and think about that stuff. Okay.
How are you tracking this?
All right. So in the beginning, I give everybody a spreadsheet to do it on the spreadsheet, but in our system, you can use InTouch, which is our client relationship management system.
How easy is it to make, can I make notes from my cell phone, or do you?
I don't know if you can make notes with yourself. That's a good question. I don't know. That's a good question. I'm sure you can get into InTouch on your phone, so I imagine that you can. Okay. But that's a really good question, because I've never done it. I've always done it on my computer. And they're coming out with some other CRM products next year besides InTouch, so stay tuned for more information on that.
I know the one that you sent through Outlook, you can make adjustments on the phone.
What's
Like
that?
The one that he sent through Outlook, you can update it through your cell phone.
Okay.
Yeah. So there's a ton of stuff out there to do that kind of stuff, but your database, your sphere of influence, is where everybody needs to start, because what you're going to do is, as you get business from that, then you have past clients to stay in front of. Okay. This, to me, again, when I was actively listing and selling, y'all, I got up to the point where one year I had 85% of my business coming from my sphere. And what you'll find is that when somebody refers you, especially on a listing, you walk into that listing, it pretty much is yours. My mantra was, when I'm driving, this is just stupid, y'all, okay? But literally, when I'm driving to that appointment, as I pull onto their street and I pull into their driveway, I keep saying in my head, this listing's mine if I want it. This listing's mine if I want it. And I would do all the different incantations of that because I already knew that I had my foot in the door because Joey or whoever introduced me, okay, and said, hey, Bill's who we use. Bill's a great, real estate agent, blah, 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 whether they've used me or not, because I've been communicating and showing them my ability to be a real estate agent. So this listing is mine if I want it, okay? Not every listing did I want. Now, I'm not going to say that to y'all, okay, because you want every listing you can get right now. There are some times when you walk into a listing and you go on the appointment and they have unrealistic expectations. They want $300,000 for a house that's in a $200,000 neighborhood. That's a tough thing, and I would say, I'm sorry, I'm not going to be able to help you, And I learned that lesson the hard way. I had friends of mine who I had 2 in 1 year, y'all, where I had they were friends of mine, and I had sold one of them the house that they were actually both of them. I had sold their house to them. And both of them were going through a divorce. They called me, and I let them set the price. I knew that they were both overpriced, but I let them set the price. Both of them, within 90 days of me getting the listing, were asking to back out of the listing because they didn't feel like I was getting the job done. Both of them listed with somebody else the next week. Both of them listed at the price that I originally recommended, and both of them sold their houses within 30 days. My fault. Because they now have a bad impression of me because I didn't sell their house within 90 days. I didn't promise I would, but they didn't listen to me either, and I didn't press the point. I said when we're a bit overpriced, and I understand we haven't got a contract on it, but I told you in the beginning. They never remember the conversation in the beginning. Okay, so that's why. But in the beginning, y'all want every listing you can get. So if it's overpriced, let's have that conversation, and let's take it and make sure that we work a system to get the price where it needs to be on our timeline, not on theirs. Okay? Because I want you to be successful, but in the beginning, you're going to be hungry and going to want to take every listing. So let's just always have that conversation. I'm always available for any of this stuff, y'all. I love working with y'all on a daily basis versus answering emails for the finance department or the HR or whatever. This is more important. This stuff, I love doing this stuff, okay? Whether it's role playing, call me and say, hey, if you want to do that same conversation I just did with Jackie, or you want to do get a listing appointment conversation, whatever it is, I'm happy to role play, okay? I will go door knocking with you. I will go on a listing appointment with you. I will sit down with the buyer and you. I don't care what it is. Let's go do some business. Okay, that's my job. My one and only focus is to help you do business. Okay, I want everybody on the call to understand that, and everybody in this room. That's what I live for. Okay, I don't care who's number one. I don't care if somebody's doing 60 deals or 20 deals or 5 deals. Whatever your pace, whatever your needs are, I want to help you meet those. But I'm also going to want to push you a little bit so that we don't just have 36 deals on the board right now. This is the 14th. So we're almost at three a day. I want to be at 4 and 5 a day. That means y'all doing business too. Okay. We only have 17 listings on the board, and 6 of those are new construction. So really 17. So that's 11 new resale homes, and 6 of those are already sold. So the business is crazy right now. This is a great time to be in it, but you got to be having the conversation every day with at least a few people. Okay. Let's see where we at. All right. So we talked about how many times we need to contact them, how to reach out to them. I'm going to unshare my screen real quick. One of the, and it was the corniest thing I thought in the entire universe, was doing something called a pop buy. Okay. A pop buy, as you saw on the list, we want to do 4 of those a year. That's once a quarter, and it's literally a 5 to 10 minute conversation, and really 10 minutes is too long. A 5-minute conversation at somebody's front door, or at their office place, depending on COVID and all that stuff. You got to it's a little bit different. But in back in the day before COVID, now that we have COVID, it's even easier not to go in their house. We said if you went in the house, it was considered a plot buy, because your time is the only thing that you are in control of in this business. Okay, you can't control appraisals, you can't control buyers' remorse, you can't control people's credit scores, You can't control somebody selling their house and then not getting the job in San Francisco and deciding to stay and take their house off the market. You can't control any of that. What you do control is your calendar and your time. Okay. You set the tone. You are the one who makes it possible to control that. Okay. So if somebody wants to go out looking at houses on Tuesday evening and you're already booked, okay, for whatever reason, okay, you are the one who sets the standard. So when they say, hey, I'm available Tuesday night, can we go out and look at houses? Oh, you know what? I've already got an appointment on Tuesday night. I have Wednesday afternoon, Wednesday night available, or I could do Thursday night. What suits your schedule better? Oh, well, I can do. You always give them an option, but you don't give them too many options. Okay. You never say, I have all day Saturday available. I've got 11 o'clock at Saturday and 1 o'clock on Saturday. All right. You set the time standards, because if you say, well, I'm available any time of day or night, call me. You set that standard and they call you, and then you now say, well, no, I can't go do that. You should have appointments. Okay. And even if you don't have appointments, but you have a family function, you have something at church, you have, I coached baseball all through from when my kids were 4 years old till they were 13 years old. I coached them both in baseball, and then my oldest one went swimming year round, and I couldn't help them with that. But literally, I was at every swim meet or every baseball game throughout their careers, and I had to learn to not say what I was actually doing, because there are people that find no value or don't consider that a legitimate reason not to meet with them, not to show them houses. Okay. I literally lost a $300,000 deal because a guy wanted to go look at houses on Tuesday night. And because I was the commissioner of the baseball league, I set my two kids' teams, because they were on two different teams, to play back-to-back on Tuesdays and Thursday nights, because I didn't want to be at the ball field 5 nights a week. So I told the man I could do Wednesday or I could do Friday. And he said, no, I want to go Tuesday night. That's the only night I have available this week. And I said, well, I've got, I'm the head coach of my two kids' baseball teams, and so I'm going to be at the baseball field from 5 o'clock till 10:30. And he said, so your kids' baseball games are more important than selling me a house? That's how he said it, y'all. And I said, well, I'm the head coach. I have responsibilities. And he said, well, then I'll find somebody else. And he found somebody else to sell him a $300,000 house. So I learned very quickly, you don't tell people what you're doing. You're in the real estate business. You have appointments. You have clients. So if I had said, well, I'm already booked Tuesday night, I'm booked up, I'm booked solid Tuesday night, would it have made a difference? I don't know. But because he didn't place any value on me being my kid's head coach and wanting to be there with my kids, it meant nothing to him. Okay, so whether you're doing
Like a special guy.
Huh?
Sounds like a special guy.
Yeah. Well, it was a $300,000 sale. You know what I'm saying? I mean, that was back in 2001. So yeah, it was anyway. But I say that because I want you all to understand that you have to change your language. You have to change the words you use. You have to. I'm not saying you're not going to be professional saying that you're at a kid's baseball game. It's just that you can't control how people think and feel about certain things. So, if somebody wanted to go out Sunday morning and you're going to Bible study before church and then church, and you're not free till 1 o'clock, telling them that you're going to church may or may not be legitimate in their mind. Okay. So tell them I'm already booked on Sunday morning. I'm free at 1 o'clock, or I can be out, 2 or 3 o'clock, whatever suits your schedule. Okay. You always use it like whatever suits your schedule, but it's based on your options. Okay. I used to carry around a Franklin Covey daytimer thing, book with writing, all that stuff. And it took me forever to get used to using Outlook and all the cool tools that are online. I'm religious about it now. Every appointment I put on goes on my calendar on my computer, and it syncs up with my phone, and I set reminders so that an hour before any appointment, my phone dings and tells me I've got an appointment. So I beg and plead with you to do the same. Do not double book yourself, because that's the worst conversation you can ever have with prospects or listing or buyers. Oh, I'm going out, I can't. So please always have your calendar. Say, give me a second, let me check my calendar. Okay, I'm available Tuesday afternoon at 4. I'm available Wednesday after 2. However you want to whatever's comfortable for you, but you need to start from scratch doing that so that you don't get yourself in trouble. And it's not trouble, it's just that you could lose a potential client, you could lose a potential listing, you just never know. So your calendar is yours to control, and I beg and plead with you to make sure that you do that. So when we're doing pop buys are literally, like I said, a 5-minute conversation, and now, even more importantly, it's you from the sidewalk to them at the doorway. It used to be we always say, you're on the front porch talking to them, but obviously now you ring the bell, step off the porch, and you're 6 feet away with your mask on. And when they come to the door, I tell everybody, you can lower your mask and smile at them and say, hey, I just wanted to say hello, and I've got a little something for you. A pop by is meant to deepen your relationship, get you in front of them so that you can ask questions, and also you're always going to go and you're going to drop something off, okay? A pop by is, I call it a gift, and I don't want anybody laughing at me when I show you on screen and here in person when I say gift, okay? Is something that is of more emotional value than cost value, okay? My goal was to never spend over $5 on a pop by item, and I wanted to be closer to $1 or $2 on a pop by item, okay? I'm going to show you a website in a second that is devoted to pop by ideas, but I want to show you what some of the agents and I have done over the years that are as corny and as tacky as you could possibly want, but they're fun to do. So back in the day, for those of you that are under 40, there was a thing called Jiffy Pop popcorn. And, then microwaves came around and this kind of stuff went away, but somebody found one of these and brought it to me as a pop by idea for me. They were giving me, but it's literally popcorn that you put, it's a pan that you put on the stove and you pop it, and the foil that's underneath the cover here pops up, and the popcorn's, you've popped it on the stove. This was like $1.59 or something like that at the grocery store. And so, you could put your card with it, and the tagline was, I just wanted to pop by and say hello, pop by, popcorn, get it, anyway, okay? Oh, can you see? Sorry, y'all. I should put my big face up on the screen. Laura Hardy did these a couple years ago. It's sugar cookie mix, and she also put a heart-shaped cookie cutter. Y'all see that? And the client, and it says, with a heart, I love my clients. Thanks for making my job so sweet. Y'all, I mean, come on, right? So again, this cost her just under $3 with all in with the wrapping and the bows. All right. This is my favorite one, probably of all time. It's a spatula. Can y'all see that? Can't see that. It's a spatula. See that? Spatula. At the Dollar Tree, not the dollar store, Dollar Tree, these are $1 a piece, okay? And Sonny Pagan, Debbie Pagan is our most creative person for pop buys in this entire office, y'all. But so the card reads, you will flip for our service. Y'all get it, okay? I'm telling you, this stuff is as corny as you want to be, but it's fun stuff. And you're literally just taking these by and say, I was thinking about you, and I thought this was kind of a cool idea, and blah, blah, blah. I did, and I don't have any samples of them because I gave them all away back in the day. I did oven mitts, okay? A pair of oven mitts that came together, and they were like $3. And it says, don't get burned by the wrong real estate agent. Use Bill Beckwith. So anyway, this is Valentine's candies, okay? There's, I think, 4 candies in the box. And obviously these are for Valentine's Day. And they were $1 a piece at the dollar store. This is when they were $1. Now they're like $1.50. But and I did these for Valentine's Day. And this was actually one of my most successful ones as far as getting a very specific number of leads. And I'll talk about that story in a minute, because that was actually going by somebody's business, and there is value in going to people's place of work. So if you're working with a client, and everything's electronic now, y'all, everything's digital. We send things for signatures, DocuSign, and all that stuff, which is great and time saving. But there is some value into going by somebody's place of work to get them to sign documents, because they get to introduce you as their realtor. Okay, as you're waiting for them in the lobby, you get to talk to other people that are in that. So there is value in that. Now, obviously with COVID, it's a lot different. I understand that, but there's still value in doing that and going by and popping by somebody's place of work and doing, because they can't spend half an hour talking to you. So a 5-minute conversation at their workplace is super simple because they can't spend, they're at work. So spending 5 minutes and say, hey, I want to pop by and bring you something. And I would always have extras when I would go somebody's, because somebody says, well, how do I get one of those? Say, well, just give me your information so I can stay in touch with you and I'll go get one out of the car for you. I can't tell you how many times I got that person's name and their home address, cell phone number, and email address. And I would go out to the car and I'd bring them back whatever I was giving away. Because people, again, this is a spatula, y'all. It's a plastic spatula, cost $1. And people were like, oh my God, I love that. Can I have one? I mean, the candy. I gave these out to my, the people in my sphere who were ladies, okay, because this is Valentine's Day. But I actually had men at places of work where I went to visit that were like, well, how do I get one of those? Let me get your information. And I would always give them 2. And the ladies would say, well, how come he gets 2? Because I said, you know how this goes. He's going to eat one. He needs one to take home to his wife. You know, so just corny stuff like that. Lint roller, okay, $1.88. Whoops, wrong side. Sorry. Don't get stuck with the wrong realtor, Debbie. Okay, I mean, y'all, this stuff is as corny as it gets, but it you know, this one, when they came back out with these a few years ago, it's a real glass bottle of Coke, and think of all the Coke slogans that you could use to tie into this. Now, this person was in my referral group and just put their business card on there, but I would have put a tagline on, let your favorite realtor bring a smile to your day. You know, have a Coke and a smile. I mean, whatever. This stuff is just gold, and this is, you know, a 6-pack of these is like $3, so they're like 50 cents a piece or something like that. I have a bag full of these things, so if you ever need any ideas, want to see what other people have done, this one. The Girl Scout cookies, if you're a fan of the Girl Scout cookies, these are actually called Thanks a Lot. I didn't know they made Thanks a Lot cookies, okay? And so this was, I just wanted to say thanks a lot for being such a great client. I really appreciate you. That was Rhonda Alexander, gave those to her past clients and supported the Girl Scouts. Now, these are a little more expensive. These are $4, $4.50. But she was only giving them to her past clients, so she didn't have her entire sphere to do that with. So I could go on, y'all. I could go on for days. Homemade cookies, a logoed football. This was DR Horton. They were going around doing something, and I don't know how much those would cost, but you know, again, if they've got kids, be prepared to give more than one. This was another Coke thing that's been beaten up, but it was a Christmas time ornamental kind of Coca-Cola, and again, the tagline's gone with that one, but there's all kinds of this. I have a bag full for the springtime. See if I can find them. Gita did the seeds for poppy seeds. Okay, well, poppy seeds. Have you outgrown your love nest? Maybe it's time to fly the coop and find the home of your dreams. You know, again, this is even cheaper. These are like 39 cents a piece, y'all. So, but it's meant to be just a way to get them to open the door, say hello, and I've got a little something for you. Okay, it doesn't need to be an expensive gift, because if you're doing it 4 times a year and you've got more than 50 or 60 people in your sphere, it'll get super expensive if you do. Okay, so this is the most expensive thing I ever bought. If y'all can see it, it's a hot chocolate for 2. It's got hot cocoa, chocolate pieces, and marshmallows in it. And my wife was the president of the Junior League, and they have an annual fundraiser down at the fairgrounds. And they have these crafty people and stuff selling stuff. And I thought these would be great for pop-by idea, especially during the wintertime. I could give them out in January. And I grabbed 20 of them because at the time I was doing 20 a month because I had 60 people, 60 plus people in my database that I was actually doing this because they were A's and A pluses. And so I grabbed 20 of these for January, and they don't have a price tag on them, and the basket they were in didn't have a price. So I took them to the register, and it was $120 for 20 of these. I was like, oh my God, it was $6 a piece. And my wife's like, now what are you going to do? Because she knew how thrifty, cheap I was on this stuff, and I said, well, I'm not going to embarrass you as the president of the junior league and put them back. Ring them up. I bought them. Okay, so this was the most expensive thing, and I kept one just because this is the proof that you shouldn't. I mean, it's just hot cocoa mix, y'all. Okay, you could even make these things and give this stuff away. But anyway, and that's the other thing. It doesn't have to be something you buy. It can be something that you make. I have a couple of agents in our office who are very good bakers. So doing cupcakes, a pack of 4 cupcakes, dropping them off at somebody's house, doing a small cake that's not expensive, and doing multiples of that. Whatever you feel comfortable with and you're good with, that's what you should do. I didn't care. I stole ideas, and let me go to the website that I stole ideas from. Okay, it's called popbuyideas.com. Peggy Urief out of Sacramento, California, put this website together years and years ago, and she updates it all the time, and has some great ideas and where you can buy certain things and how much they cost typically. So she spends a little bit more money than I'm used to spending, but you can see every season of the year and every month of the year are in here, and you literally click on them, and she gives you a whole list. Like right now we're in November, so if you click on November Pop By Ideas, hopefully this will pull up. A turkey baster, $7 is way more than I want to spend, y'all. Okay, carpet and upholstery cleaner. You can see she spends a little. These are Superstar food service oven mitts. I would never spend $8, but there's some just different ideas, and she's got the taglines on here. And if any of you are Pinterest fans or users of Pinterest, if you type in Pop By in the Pinterest search, thousands upon thousands, literally, Pop By ideas and the taglines that go with them, and they're all corny as hell, pardon my French, okay, that are out there. I mean, people brag and they show off, just like I sit here and show off all these ideas that people here in my office and that I've used in the past, because they work. They literally get you referrals. I had one where I was doing cookies one year, and it was somebody who wasn't even a client of mine, but was a friend of a client of mine, and I had added them to my database from the baseball field. And so I popped by their house because I asked if they would be willing to refer me. The husband was the regional manager for ADT alarm systems. So he had reach all over the place. So anyway, so I popped by there, and and because I had 2 kids, I knew I needed to have 2 packs of cookies, 1 for each kid. And the wife was a stay-at-home mom, so I stopped by, popped by, and had a quick conversation. And before I could get out of the neighborhood, she was calling me on my cell phone because she had forgotten that her sister was thinking about buying a house, and could I call her sister? I mean, I can't make this stuff up, okay? The communication system I'm talking about, this goes back to when we first meet somebody, they are a C. I didn't talk about C's, and I apologize for that. Anybody that the first time you meet them and you get their information, they are a C, because they don't know you well, you don't know them well, but you need to start a campaign of getting to know them, okay? And what I would do is it's an old salesman's thing called an 8x8 touch system. And it's meant to be, this is just when you first meet somebody, it's not anybody else in your database that are B's or A's or A pluses. First meet somebody, it's 8 communications over 8 weeks. So if you're at an open house and you meet somebody for the first time and they're not working with another agent, they're thinking about buying a house, but they got to get they got to sell their house. Well, number one, that's 2 deals right there, maybe a potential for 3. If you list their house and sell their house yourself, there's 2, and you help them buy a house, that's 3. If they're not working with anybody, I am all over that right then and there. I'm going to write them a thank you note for coming to the open house. I will have asked them questions about where they live, because I'm going to get their address. How long have they lived there? Okay. And then I'm going to have all that information. I'm going to go and do some research, and I'm going to start hammering away over 8 weeks, reaching out and touching them. Okay. I tell this story back. This was back in the middle of the recession, y'all. I worked for a different company, and their iconic logo is a red, white, and blue balloon. And every piece of clothing I had, every shirt I had, every sweater I had, every pullover I had the red, white, blue balloon, my name, and the name of my Remax company. Okay, everything I had. So everywhere I went, didn't have to wear a name tag because I had everything monogrammed basically. Okay. And there was a new convenience store that had just opened up outside my neighborhood, and I'd never been inside. I'd been by there to get gas. And one morning I said, I'm going to go in and get a muffin and a cup of coffee. Well, they didn't have any muffins, so I grabbed a honey bun and a cup of coffee, and I'm fifth in line. And the guy, I'm 6'3", y'all. I had to strain my neck to see the top of the head of the guy in front of me. He happens to turn around, and he says, so he says, I feel bad for you. I got a cup of coffee and a honey bun. I don't know what the heck. What are you talking about? He says, you're sure? You're in real estate, aren't you? I said, well, yes, sir. And this, again, middle of the recession. Oh, this is like 09, 10. Okay, I mean, dead winter. Nothing's happening in real estate. And I said, well, you know what? This recession's actually given me opportunities I never thought I would have. I've actually gone to class and learned how to help people that are facing foreclosure to do short sales and to also be a foreclosure expert. So I've actually learned a lot more than I ever would have been exposed to. So I'm actually kind of optimistic because I get to help people that I would have never considered helping before. And he says, well, that's pretty damn optimistic. And I said, well, if I weren't thinking this way, I'd be down the Gervais Street Bridge trying to figure out which way to jump so I'd kill myself, right? And he laughed, and I said, well, let me ask you this. Do you rent or own your own home? He said, I own a home. I said, where do you own a home? He says, in Lake Carolina. I said, ooh, Lake Carolina's really nice. Which subdivision in Lake Carolina? And he says, the Peninsula. Oh, you live in the Peninsula. Peninsula, the lowest priced house back then was $450,000. The highest priced house was $1.2 million. And I said, oh, when did you buy your house? He says, back in 2006. I said, oh. I said, are you on the lake or off? He says, I'm off the lake. I said, oh. He says, yeah, we paid about $600,000 to have our house built. I said, oh, that's good. I said, well, let me ask you this. Have you looked into how much your house is worth today? He said, well, no, we're not looking to sell. I said, but aren't you kind of curious with what's going on? You know, how much your house is actually worth today in today's market? He says, well, yeah. I said, well, let me do this. It's no cost to you. I said, for free, I will do a market analysis on your home if I can just get your information. Okay. So I got Steve's information. Okay. Got his home address. I said, well, let me get your phone number and email address. And back then I really had to practice the email address thing, you know, because I just wasn't, because we get so much spam. Even today, it's even worse. But I said, you know, Steve, one of the things is I'm going to call you after I send that market analysis to make sure you get it, because, you know, the mail isn't always super great. But also I get opportunities, especially in the market that we're in. There are deals being offered and things, and I'd love to share those with you. And the best way for me to do that is if I get it by email, I'll send it to you by email. I'm not going to spam you. I'm not going to overflood you, blah, 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 blah. And he said, okay. So he gave me all the information, and I went straight back to my office. I did the market analysis, and then I put it aside. First thing I did was send him a thank you card for even talking to me, and to let him know that I'm going to be sending that market analysis in the next couple of days. Be looking for it in your mail. So I sent him a handwritten note card with my business card in it. I waited. The way the week worked out, it was like later in the week, so the very beginning of the next week. Y'all, I would have a stack of mail on my desk of birthday cards or holiday cards, all the stuff that needed to go out in a month, and I would have it, and I would write the day it needed to go in the mail on the back of the envelope. Although somebody that I did this class a couple years ago told me, and I had never thought about it, I mean, I've been doing this for years, was to put the date it needed to go out where the stamp would go, because they wouldn't see the numbers written on it, because I would put it on the back corner of the, 915 or whatever. So put it where the stamp goes, and then you just cover it up. And I was like, well, I've been doing this for how long? Man, that's a great idea. So so I would put because instead of trying to do it every day and trying to figure out who, I would do the whole month's worth, especially birthday cards and anniversary cards. So I had his market analysis ready to go, but I didn't send it right away. Then I sent it. Okay. Then I called him out about a week after I sent it, because and Steve, did you get the market analysis? I said, oh yeah, I appreciate that, Bill. And his house was worth just under $500,000. That he paid $6. He says, I knew that it wasn't good. I said, but you know what, Steve? The market always comes back. Real estate is one of the proven commodities in life that it'll come back. We're going to get through this thing and going to come back bigger and stronger than ever. And your house will appreciate lickety split, and especially where you live, and being that you're not one of the most expensive houses in the neighborhood. That's the conversation I had with him. And I said, Stephen, by the way, if you heard what I had to say earlier, I'm here to help. I'm here to be of service. If somebody's struggling, if somebody's having problems, I know resources that they can go to talk to maybe save their house. Or if there's not a possibility of saving it, let's doing short sale. There's a lot of other things that we can do. So, keep me in mind. I'd love to help anybody that you know. And he said, well, I appreciate that. Thanks, Bill. And so that was 1, 2, 3 communications over 3 weeks. And then I sent him one of my newsletter things, and I sent him a market analysis of all of Lake Carolina, of all the houses that are sold, how many houses were on the market, and there was 150 houses on the market, and only 20 had sold. Real depressing stuff, but it was still showing that I'm in the game. Okay, and then a follow-up phone call. So 8 pieces of communication over 8 weeks. That way, you are somebody that they now know. Okay, so that person really and truly gets elevated to a B. Okay, and then you're going to be able to ask him that question, the next time you talk to him. I didn't do any pop buys because, again, he was a C. I'm not going to spend my time and money taking stuff to somebody who's a C. That was in February, y'all. In August, Steve calls me. Hey, Steve, how you doing? There's a hesitation. Well, you got me in your phone, Bill? I said, well, of course, Steve. Anybody that I might be doing business with, I want to make sure I have their contact information because, again, I need to be able to reach out to somebody. I don't want to be looking somebody's phone number up. Got it on my phone. He goes, wow. He said, well, actually, I'm calling you because I got a friend of mine who needs to buy a house. And I said, oh, yeah, what's the story? He says, he's moving here from Philly. And I said, well, wait a minute, really? He said, yeah. I said, well, I actually grew up in South Jersey, so I'm real familiar with Philly, so I'll be able to talk to him really good. So he gave me his friend, sold him a $235,000 house. And what did I do? I met a guy at a convenience store, y'all. And it wasn't even him. It was a friend of his. But if I hadn't done that stuff to make it in his mind that I was somebody that he could trust with his friend who was moving from Philadelphia to buy a house here, I mean, and again, I didn't do anything crazy. I didn't. Now, nowadays, we can do what I call more crazy stuff because we can friend them on Facebook. We can, tweet them. We can do all kinds of other stuff that I didn't have available to me back in 2009, 2010. But this stuff works, okay? And it's very old school, but in the world that we live in, old school is even better, okay? It's 11 o'clock. Anybody need to take a break that's here in the room? Everybody good? Okay, we're going to keep going because I promise you we'd be done we've been in an hour. And I really want to dive into a couple of more things.
Bill, do you find that's pretty standard when you're making contacts regularly like that? That referral is like a 6-month turnaround?
It depends. It depends on who they know and what's going on. Okay, the question, in case you didn't hear it online, is does it usually take 6 months to get a referral when you first communicate with somebody? It just depends on who they know, what they know, and if they've got somebody that they would refer them to. And, it just as easily, that friend from Philly could have been moving in March and I would have had a shot at him probably. Okay. And so, when you meet people and you get their information, put them in your phone. My phone right now, y'all, hang on a second. I'm going to go to my phone, my contacts, and tell you. I have, and if y'all don't know how to do this on your phone, if you go to your contacts and scroll to the very bottom of the list, all the way through the A's, B's, and Z's, it tells you how many contacts. I have 723 people on my phone, okay? Now, I'm going to tell you this. Half of them, I don't know who they are. I got their names. I got their phone number. I don't know who they are. But over the years, between recruiting agents, getting to, different vendors, different people, I've got people on here that I know that are real estate agents probably, but there are 1, 2, 3, 4 Toms on here, and 2 of them I don't know. And one of them makes lighthouses that you put in your yard that we had. They made lighthouses for Jackie Kelly to put in her yard. We ordered them. I saw him driving down the interstate one day, and he had lighthouses on a trailer behind his pick-em-up truck. So I got his phone number. He actually lives in West Virginia or Virginia and travels down to somewhere in Florida every year, and he makes lighthouses that are iconic lighthouses all across the East Coast with different striping and different colorations. And for Christmas one year, we surprised Jackie because she loves lighthouses, and she didn't have any lighthouses in her yard. So we got these 4-foot tall 2 lighthouses that were, we made her cry. That's all. We like making Jackie cry. And so so that's in my phone. I mean, I haven't called him since, but he's in my phone. So you need to capture that information, and when you do, you need to work it. I mean, again, convenience store. I've been a grocery store, y'all. I made it my mission to talk to as many people in the grocery store as I could, and I do most of it now. With COVID, I don't, but I used to be the one that goes grocery shopping. I did all the cooking, and when my kids were very young, when they were 5 and 3 years old, if I went out on a Saturday to go grocery shopping for the week, literally I would be gone for 2 hours. And y'all go, well, how can it take you 2 hours to go grocery shopping at the Food Line? I would get stopped by people who I sold houses to, that I helped do business with. I had no clue who they were, y'all. They all knew me, okay? But I wasn't doing this stuff. I wasn't, back when I got in the business, I was selling new houses and lots and in a big development where I live now. And so it was burn and churn, all right? Burn and churn, burn and churn. I did 54 deals in 1 year. I know the names and I know the addresses, but I'm not good with faces and names, but everybody. So I would get, one day my wife says, why does it take you so long to go grocery shopping? I said, because I get stopped all the time. And I said, I stopped 3 different times today, and they wanted to meet the boys, and the boys are in the, and they're like, well, she says, well, who did you talk to? I said, I don't know. She said, well, how do you not know? I said, because I don't remember who they are. But it was 3 different people that I had sold probably $200,000 and $300,000 houses to, and I had no clue who they were. That's horrible. I wasn't taught the things that we're talking about today. I wasn't taught, okay, because I got in the business from a different angle. And we were burn and churn. We weren't follow through, clients for life. Okay, you want to have clients for life. You want to not only serve their needs now, but serve their needs in the future for not just them, their friends, their family members, and their coworkers. Okay, I didn't learn that. I learned it many years later. I sold 390 homes in Long Creek Plantation, y'all, over my 7 years being there, and I didn't do any of this stuff with those 390 homes. Think about it. If I had, and even if a third of them turned out to be clients. Now, most of them were represented by buyer's agents, but buyer's agents are just as bad as everybody else in not following up and following through. But if I had done half of these things that I'm talking to you about today, I probably would have never become a broker in charge, because I would have not needed to augment my income when I was back in retail business. Okay, so these are things that I'm super excited about, because they taught me how to do the business the right way, and it continued to bring me business year after year after year. And so when I say everybody on your phone, it's everybody, okay? I happened to be going through this class back in the day when I had a little bit of hair still on my head, and I had to go get it cut every couple of weeks. And somehow I found a new hairstylist down on Forest Drive. I don't remember who. Somebody referred me. And about the 3rd time in, I was way deep in this. I was so excited about all this stuff. And so I actually asked her the question. I said, Kathy, I said, if you, a friend or a family member, or one of the coworkers here at the salon need to buy or sell real estate, do you have a real estate agent you would refer them to? And she goes, well, what do you mean? I said, well, if that stylist down there or your sister needed to buy or sell a house, do you have somebody you refer them to? She goes, well, no, I don't. And I said, well, I want to be that guy. Can I leave some of my business cards here? Because excuse me. One of the things that's proven is that, and I'm not being sexist, y'all, okay? I'm not. But ladies tend to spend more time in the chair than us guys. I was in and out in 15 minutes. The average time I asked her for the ladies that came in was at least a half hour to an hour. And sitting there for an hour, half hour to an hour, you got to have some conversations. And conversations do come up about people getting new jobs and moving from one place to another. And so within 6 months, 6-month thing, I had 2 referrals from her. One of them was her mom, who was thinking about selling her house. And I went over and did an evaluation. And her mom also happened to be a stylist at a different salon. And so I started working both those. This is stupid, y'all. I started working both those salons doing little pop buys. I would take a tray of cookies that I got at Publix, or Publix wasn't around back then, so it was probably Piggly Wiggly. I would go get a tray of fresh made cookies and take them to the salon with my business cards and say, hey, y'all. Or this time of year, I would do a pumpkin pie, or I would do a carrot cake or something like that, so that 8 to 10 people could enjoy. They'd have my business cards, but I was going there really to meet my referral source in that business. And I got business from it. Her mom introduced me to her boyfriend, who had 3 mobile home lots down in Swansea, y'all. Okay, $10,000 each lots. Okay, that's all they're worth. And it turns out he was testing me. I sold all 3 lots in less than 35 days. Somebody came in, they wanted to put in a little mobile home park, so they're going to put 3 mobile homes on them down in Swansea. Sold those in 30 days, and he says, okay, now that you did so good on those, will you come take a look at my house on Lake Murray? Now we're talking. Okay, that was a $350,000 sale. Mom's house needed a lot of work. She had about $8,000, $10,000 worth of foundation work because her foundation was moving, and so she had to have that. So it took her about a year, all right, but I sold her house a year later, okay? But Mom also referred me to somebody else from her salon, and Kathy over the years has probably referred me 3 or 4 deals, and I was always one to show gratitude. Not only would I send them a thank you card, I would send them a little something in the mail with that thank you card, and we are not allowed to incentivize people to send us referrals that aren't real estate agents, okay? But we can certainly send them a thank you. And my thank you, because I'm a foodie, y'all. I like to go out to eat when I can. And so I would I would secretly find out where they like to eat, okay? And this is how it would work. So I'm sitting in the chair with Kathy. She has already referred me to her mom. Whether her mom's going to do business with me or not, I'm going to send a thank you. Anytime somebody refers you, you send a thank you right then and there. Whether they have good credit or bad credit, if they're a buyer, or if they're ready to sell or they're not ready to sell, they referred you in, okay? So you need to send a handwritten thank you card. I personally included a gift card to a restaurant. Now, I've seen people do Fandango gift cards. I've seen Lowe's gift cards. I've seen, whatever. I mean, there's all kinds of ways to do it. But I would send $50 gift cards. And I found out from my CPA, I could only write off $25 of that $50 per individual. So if it was a husband, wife, okay, I would send 2 $25 gift cards, and I would address the envelope to Bob and Mary Smith. So sending 2 gift cards and 2 $25 gift cards, okay? And then somebody came along one day and said, hey, isn't that part of your marketing promotion stuff? And I said, well, yeah. And they said, well, you should be just writing it off as a marketing expense instead of a gift card, because then you can write the whole thing off instead of part of it. And I was like, okay. So what I tell everybody is seek tax advice. You can't tell somebody, hey, if you refer me, I'll send you a gift card to go to a restaurant. But I always send a thank you. Now, with Kathy was a single mom of 2 teenagers. And so one day I'm sitting in the chair and I realize I need to find out where she likes to go to eat. Well, more than likely it's dependent on the kids, because you know how kids are. And I found out that her kids loved Red Lobster. So when she referred me her mom, I sent her a $50 gift card to go to Red Lobster, because she and the 2 kids could go to Red Lobster to eat pretty easily, okay? If I didn't know somebody's favorite restaurant, so again, I'm really, really sneaky about this stuff, y'all, okay? So the people who run the real estate school have always been very, very nice to me, okay, to let me go and talk to the people in class and talk recruiting. And so one year I wanted to do something just to thank them, because I'd been to the school at least 12 or 14 times that year. And so I called Melissa, who's Chip's wife that runs the school, and I said, hey, Melissa, I'm just curious, my wife likes to go to a couple of different restaurants in town, and I know you and Chip are foodies. Where do you guys like to go? I'm trying to find someplace new, right? Well, I found out they like to go to Terra over in West Columbia. Well, Terra's not a cheap place to go, y'all. So I went to Terra's, and I'd already looked up their menu online and realized you can't go there to eat for $50, okay? It's like going to Ruth Chris Steakhouse. You can't walk in the door with a $50 gift card and get anything. Oh, crap. My battery's getting ready to die on my computer, y'all, so hang on just a second. So talk amongst yourselves, but if you're going to Terra's, you got to do 100. So I sent them a $100 gift card to Terra's, and it freaked them out. They thought that was such a cool thing. So I'll be right back. Talk amongst yourselves.
Okay.
I'm back, y'all. Sorry about that. Y'all still with me online? I hope.
Yes.
All right, cool. All right, let me go back. So again, pop buys are just a great way to get in touch with people. I used pop buys also to get more information. Meaning I would, again, just like talking on the phone and finding out that Jackie had retired, you know, how's the family? You know, you're always going to lead with how's the family? How are you? How's the new job? Whatever you have in your notes, lead with that, okay? The time to ask or talk about referrals is just before you're getting ready to go. Say, oh, by the way, you know, if anybody that's looking to buy or sell, this is a great time. I would love to talk to them. You want to remind them that you are in the business, number one. Number two, you want to remind them that you're never too busy for any of their referrals. I followed up every pop buy, every time I saw somebody in person, with a handwritten note card, okay? Handwritten note cards are the number one guaranteed to be read piece of mail you will ever send somebody in the mail. Okay, so this is the audience participation part. Let me unshare my screen. All right, for those of you that are online, and those of you that are in the building, and even if you've been through this procedure before, I want you to follow along. I want you all to close your eyes. Even you online, every one of you, Kia, Renee, all of you, close your eyes. And I want you to think about when you get home and you go to the mailbox. If you're not the one that normally does, pretend that you are the one that does, okay? You open the mailbox and there's 6 pieces of mail in there. There's the latest vote for me from Biden, Trump, I don't care, whoever it is. There is the blue envelope value pack with all those coupons in it. There's the water bill, okay? There's an offer for Visa for 0%, 12-month APR, blah, blah, blah. And there's a handwritten note card. What's guaranteed to be open before you even go to the house? And you guys online can answer, and you in here can answer. What is it? Say it again.
Visa offer.
The Visa offer. Okay. All right, Michael's the only one, y'all, because he's looking for savings, okay? But the rest of you, I guarantee it's that handwritten note card.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes. Kia?
I would say the note card as well.
Yeah. Note card is guaranteed to be open every time you send it, okay? Note cards also need to include your business card every time you send it, okay? Now, I will tell a story on myself. I sent note cards in my monthly mailer, and I sent note cards in my business card in my monthly mailers and also in my handwritten note cards. I had a friend of mine one day say, hey, we love getting your stuff in the mail, but you really don't need to keep sending me business cards. I know who you are, and I got a junk drawer full of your business cards. And I said, Barry, I send you the cards, so you'll give them out to your friends and family and coworkers. He goes, oh, you never told me that, okay? So I want you to know that your business card needs to go. It needs to be. They don't need to be sitting in a box in your office or on your desk or in the back seat of your car. Your business cards are meant to get out there and get around. Okay. So tell people, say, I'm going to send you my business card in case you run across somebody that needs my help. But do me a favor, if you give out my business card, please make sure they give me a call, or you give me a call to let me know you did, because I want to follow up. Because sometimes, people are, have the best interest, they want to do the right thing, but they forget, they lose the business card and that kind of thing. I tell the story on one of our agents who, when I first joined this office 8 years ago, tomorrow, yay, we sat down to do one-on-one coaching session, and I asked her where most of her business was coming from, and she said, oh, most of my business comes from referral. I give out my business card all the time, and people refer me all the time. And I said, yeah, but you only did 12 deals last year. Yeah, I know, but everybody tells me. I said, okay, so what you need to do is explain to people when they tell people your name, give them your information. They need to call you to give you a heads up, so you're expecting their call. Okay, because what happens is, and this is an agent whose kids are heavily in sports, just like mine. So I use this sports analysis. When you're sitting in the bleachers and, you're having a conversation, and if somebody says, yeah, I'm looking to maybe put our house on the market because we may be moving to San Francisco, and that other person gives them your card. If you're like my family, we have a big old utility bag that goes to the ballpark with us. That card goes in there, never to be seen again. And plus, when people go home from the ball field, they're trying to get their kids fed. They're trying to get them to bed. The next morning, they're up to school and off to work. They've forgotten all about that conversation. But if that person who gave your name calls you and lets you know that they gave your name and number to somebody, you then have the opportunity to say, hey, I'm looking forward to their call. And if they don't hear from them the next couple of days, is it okay if I reach out to them myself? Because usually that's what you have to do. And I won't brag on that agent, but that agent is now our number one agent. She just went over 60 deals for the year last week. Okay, it's about helping yourself by helping those who are trying to help you do it a little bit differently. Okay, so it's important that we do that. Handwritten note cards, as I said, is to me the lifeblood of everything that we do, and I'm a big proponent of it. I'm so much a proponent of it. I have a drawer in my office full of note cards for every occasion, for every season of the year. And there's actually a website that I get note cards from. It's called notecardcafe.com. And they are the cheapest cards you can, and when I say cheap, I'm talking about expense-wise, y'all, because they are actually very sturdy, very quality cards. And this website has them. You can see they're 26 cents a piece, or you can get a set of 72 for $16.99. Michael, do the math. And as you can see, if you're watching you look at the banner across the street, you've got different sets. So you got all kinds of different sets. And look, 4th of July sets, you can see now where I found 4th of July. But you can see all kinds of different sets, different occasions, different holidays, different birthdays, okay, different thank yous. And because they love us so much in the business that we're in, they actually have a category just for us, real estate. and there's all kinds. Home sweet home. All right, I'm just going to scroll through the screen, y'all. But you can see there are all different kinds, and it goes on and on and on for 26 cents a piece, or buy a set of 72. And they're actually a second page. It used to only be one page, and within the last couple of years, it's gone to page 2. So literally, you can see there's, depending on your personality, your style, okay? And look, there's a happy first year in your new home. So they actually have an anniversary card for after your first year being in the house. Then there's also another one that's just a anniversary somewhere. There's just a standard anniversary one. So you got them both. But congrats on your new home. There's sayings, if you like the ones that all kinds. And I used to, before I knew about this website, I'd go to the dollar store, and the dollar store would have 2 different types of cards: the ones that cost $1 and the ones that cost 2 for $1. 2 for $1 is 50 cents, y'all. I would buy all kinds of cards. I would just wear out that rack of the ones that I liked. But then I found this website a few years later, and I was like, 26 cents a piece. Holy crap. They are blank inside. You can actually customize them, but I tell everybody, don't do it. Just leave it alone. You're gonna write, whether your handwriting is as bad as mine or you have perfect penmanship. Don't put anything inside. Don't have any sayings inside. Do your own thing. Okay. The note card needs to be no more than 5 or 6 sentences. Okay, and your closing. It's just about reaching out and touching them. It was great seeing you the other day. I'm so thrilled about Johnny getting into Clemson. I can't wait to hear how that goes. Congratulations on your retirement, Jackie. I can't wait to hear all the adventures that you go on. It's as simple as that, Congratulations, Michael, for getting in the real estate business and quitting your job and jumping in full time. I mean, those are the kinds of conversations. It's quick and simple and easy. And you don't need to. I used to worry over my handwriting. I have the worst handwriting in the world. I would go through 3 or 4 note cards to write one, and I'd be like, "Oh, this just sucks." So I'd throw them away. And I'm like, so then back then I was spending 50 cents in the trash every time I did it. So don't worry about it. You'll get better at it, but you also get to the point where you can knock out 5 or 10 in a day very quickly. Okay, you'll find that it's super, super easy. For those of you that are online, you don't get to do this exercise, so you guys get 10-minute break. It's 11:30. You guys need to come back at 11:40 because the folks here in the building get to write 3 note cards each. For those of you that are on the call from home, next time you come by the office, stop by my office and I'll give you three note cards to do. For those of you that are here, if you'll write the 3 out, and if you know the addresses, put them on the envelope. I will put that very costly. The most costly thing about putting note cards in the mail is the stamp, y'all. So I got stamps. I will put stamps on them. But everybody here is going to take 10 minutes to write 3 note cards apiece. And they are literally to people that you know, announcing that you're getting into real estate, just saying, hey, I appreciate you being the best sister in the world. I don't care. It doesn't have to be about real estate, okay? It's just, if you've got a kid in school and they got a great teacher, write the teacher note. If you don't have the teacher's address, you can take the envelope with you and fill it out. But I want to put them in the mail for you because I want you to get used to doing this. It's a great exercise, and I don't do it as well as I used to because my days just run away from me. But I want you all that are on the line. So Sandy, Denise, Kia, Renee, next time you're in the office, stop by my office. I'll give you guys 3 note cards. And 10 minutes starts now, so you get a break. Be back here at 11:40.
I want 3.
You weren't here on time.
You got 3 left over.
Yeah, I do.
I'll put my own postage on there.
Thank you.
Yeah. Sorry.
I run a busy team, and Monday.com has transformed the way we work together. We started off using Monday.
And I'm even going to play some note card writing music for those of you who are in the building, because you can go to YouTube and type in note card writing music, and it will actually give you note card writing music. I'm stupid about this stuff, y'all. We got 1 minute left.
And from the address, like, do we just put the address from here?
Yeah.
That's 452 Killian Road. Right?
Yep. Yep. Yeah, I never wanted anybody to know my home address. You know, and again, it's a professional communication, so you know.
Yeah, I got you.
Such a good exercise.
Yeah.
That.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, that sounds silly.
Yeah.
It really is.
Hey, guess what I got from my early birthday Christmas present?
Yeah. I remember I quoted somebody a year ago. I was like, oh my God, just send all the things. I haven't talked to him since.
Yeah. All right, we're at time. So the folks that are online, let me kill the music here because we were listening to some lovely music to somewhere. There we go. All right, as you can see on the screen, I meant to talk about this one. Talk about pop buys. Everything you do needs to be part of a plan. You need to plan everything you do because, again, you only control your calendar. So Peggy, back in 2016, she's been around doing this for a very long time, posted this online as an Excel spreadsheet, and I have copied and pasted it every year since. So when I send you the email, you'll get a copy of this filled in pop by calendar that she had used back in 2016, and I will send you a blank one so that you can set up your 2021. You can see she actually puts what the item she's going to buy, what the tagline is, and how many she needs to buy and where she's going to get it from. So bird feeder seed bells, she got those, bought them online, and she did 40, and it says, have you outgrown your love nest? Maybe it's time to fly the coop and find the home of your dreams. That's something that you saw with those thanks a lot cookies that Rhonda did. Again, these people put this stuff out for you to mimic, to imitate, to repeat, reuse. You are not stealing because they put it out there for you to use, and they want you to use it because they are proud of what they put together. So there is no trademark infringement, no copyright infringement that you need to worry about. It's all about getting out and doing it. So when I send you the email, both those of you here and online, you'll have a filled in calendar, and let me close that. And you will have let's see, a blank one that looks like that. Okay, so I'll send it to you so you can fill it in. You can make your plan. Now, remember, you're only doing it once a quarter, and it's supposed to be to your A's and A pluses. As we talked about earlier, everybody that you have right now are B's, so you're going to need to have that conversation if they're interested and willing to refer you business. Start with your family. And the reason I say start with your family and friends that are on your phones, because you can practice the conversation. You can practice the words. If you flub the words, you know it in your head. They probably don't know it, but you'd rather flub them in front of your friends and family members or with me. Feel free to call me, y'all. I love practicing this stuff. This is, you know, and if you tell me to call you and practice, I'll call you and practice it. I'll run it from my end, and then you do it from your end. Whatever you want to do. This is the stuff that, again, makes me want to get up and do this business. I'm not doing business like you guys are doing business. I'm not out there peddling, but I want you guys to be as good at it and as comfortable with the words as you can possibly be, because ultimately that's going to dictate whether you do the things or not. If you're not comfortable, I hated doing pop buys in the beginning, y'all. I will promise you, the first 2 times I did pop buys, they were the nightmares of my dreams, and I don't know why. because when I went out and did it, I really actually found it kind of fun because the people were actually excited to see me and they liked getting a little something. It was, I mean, again, y'all saw, I mean, we're not talking, you know, cases of wine. We're not talking about, you know, hundreds of dollars worth of stuff. It's a couple of dollars. And again, you can, I say steal, you can borrow these ideas, both Pinterest and Peggy's website, popbyideas.com, and take advantage of people who have done it in the past and, you know, learn from their, not from necessarily from their mistakes, but they actually got to do it. So, any questions about any of that? Okay. Now, here's what I know, because I've been around this for a little while. If I can find it. That's not it. Why aren't you pulling up? There it is. All right. Bill, if I talk to somebody and they ask me how long have I been in the business, I'm brand new, they're not going to want to talk to me. They're not going to want to do business with me. So on the screen is what we call the new agent dialogue, okay? You know, so, you know, Jackie asked me the question. Ask me the question on the screen.
How long have you been in real estate?
Well, you know what? I'm really new to the business, and I have a lot of energy. I'm fired up. I'm enthusiastic, and I have time available for you or your friends or your family members. And if we encounter a problem that I don't know the answer to, I'm one phone call away from the people in my office who have hundreds of years of experience, and I'll get you all the answers you need. Understand this, everybody on this call, there are 86 official agents in this office. You know, a lot of you are new. I mean, not let's say a lot, you know, let's say a dozen or so are new. But of the other agents, I've got 24 years in the business. Brian Hunt's got just as many, if not a couple more. Alice O'Brien's been in the business since 2000. Martha McCoy's been in the business that long. When you add up those years, it's hundreds of years of experience. So there are people that are willing and wanting to help you every step of the way. So you can honestly and in your heart know that if you encounter a problem, you're just a phone call away from getting an answer. You're a text away from getting an answer. You know, so whatever's comfortable for you, but you need to not be afraid of that question. You're not going to need to hem and haw around it. You're not going to need to, you know, I don't want you lying ever, but you don't need to say, look, you know what? I'm really new to the business, but I have a whole lot of energy. I'm excited to be in this business. Okay. And I've got plenty of time. You know, matter of fact, if you were my first listing, you'd have my 24/7, really and truly. Okay. You know, somebody that's got 20 or 30 listings, how much time do they have to devote to each individual person? I can devote 24/7, 365 to you. Okay, obviously you get more business, but it's just however you want to phrase it, however you want to talk about it, that's lean into it. Be open, be honest, be excited about it. I mean, we are in the most exciting time that's ever been in real estate. You know, it used to be, we said 2005, 2006 were the most exciting time. We are killing those numbers, you know, and prices. I mean, our average sales price, I brag about being 204, and just 4 years ago was 150, 155. Well, actually, the last 4 months, our average sales price has been over $230,000, which means more commission dollars in every one of your pocket when we're doing those kinds of numbers. So it is an exciting time. It's a scary time because there's not a whole lot of inventory. There's the supply, you know, that supply and demand. That's why prices are going up, because there's more demand than there is supply. But it also gives us the opportunity to tell people about the supply issue and about being a great time to buy, because interest rates are so low, you can afford more house, and you can afford a more expensive house, because even though, you know, the price is going up, they can still afford that. So lean into the fact that you're new, lean into the fact that you are excited about being in this business, because it is an exciting time. Now I'm gonna take a couple of minutes here and play some videos. I didn't used to play all of these because I always thought people got bored. But the more and more, because I can never pick which just one. They're each about 5 minutes long. This is Brian Buffini, who is the founder and CEO and president of Buffini and Company. He was he's an Irish immigrant. He came from Ireland when he was 20-something, early 20s. Moved to San Diego, California for no other reason than he knew that it was a sunny place to be and a great place to be. And he's got an incredible story as to what happened to him when he got in the business and all that. But he literally started from nothing. Literally started from nothing to the point where when he sold his business to get into coaching, he was getting 40 to 45 referral leads a month from his sphere. Okay, think about that: 40 to 45 referral leads a month. And what I tell you about referral, if you get a referral lead from somebody in your sphere, it's not a cold lead. It's not an internet lead. It's a real live person who wants to buy or sell a house. And that's where he was when he sold his business to get in the coaching business, because he was doing so well. People want to know what his secret to success was. And he started doing coaching, not just for his office, but for the other franchises in that brand, because he was a RE/MAX agent back then. And then he started doing regional, and then he started doing statewide, and eventually started doing national symposiums on how he got his business to where it is, to the point where he was not only doing real estate, he was also doing for companies like Wells Fargo for their loan officers and how to generate referral business for their, because think about it, loan officers live and breathe referral business. There aren't, not, if you listen to the radio, there's only a couple of lending institutions that are on the radio or on TV all the time about doing mortgage business. So all those other loan officers with all those other companies live and die by referrals, and the referrals come from real estate agents. So he was actually teaching and preaching this stuff to even national Wells Fargo's thing. So Brian Buffini's my kind of my, I won't say my mentor because I don't actually know him. I've been to a bunch of his seminars because I when I learned this, I dove in head first and realized that I didn't know what I was doing before I got into this business, and now I feel like I do. And I learned it because of the things that he teaches and preaches, and I follow them almost religiously. So I'm going to play a couple of his videos real quick for everybody. Bear with me because it's important. Come on. Your computer settings like, no, let me go change my. See if that'll work. I changed my settings here. He looks like a grumpy old man in that shot. Let me go here. All right. So this is about what we started this whole thing on about lead generation. So
if you abdicate the lead generation process, your primary focus as a business owner. Now, how many of you are in the real estate business? Let me see your hands. How many of you are in the mortgage business? Okay. How many of you are in other businesses? You're self-employed, small business. Okay, great. Here's the thing. When you go to work every day, your primary focus as a business person is to generate a lead. And then there's a job part of your business, which is helping people buy and sell homes, doing transactions, doing paperwork, doing appraisals, getting inspections done, getting loans done, yada, yada, yada. You own a business, and inside the business, there's a job. Most people focus on the job and don't run the business. If this makes sense, say aye. The number one focus of your business is lead generation. Now, next thing you need is multiple sources of the leads. Multiple sources. We're going to talk about that. Many streams make a mighty river, true story. Okay? The mighty Amazon, made up of a lot of little tributaries. So here's the sources. There's 3 sources for leads going forward. The first and most important by far is relational. The relational sources for leads. Okay? Oh, by the way, how many of you like the idea of how many of you like the word relational? How many of you like the idea of having customers who like you? Let me see your hands nice and high. How many of you like even more the idea of you liking your customers? Can I see your hands? How many of you would like to only work with people you like? Can I see your hands? That is what set me on fire in my career. Once I made a commitment, I was going to do the work because I wanted to give my heart to people, but I wanted to give my heart to people that I could trust, and the only way I could trust them is if they trusted me. And I was going to go find them. Are you guys with me? Oh, by the way, it also pays the bills. It also pays the bills. I shared this earlier on. If it's true, you're not bragging. The average sales agent, not the average realtor, because realtor as a term by NAR also includes brokers. So you take brokers out of the mix. The average sales agent in the National Association of Realtors last year made $39,900 in gross commissions. Or as we say in California, gross. What comes out of that 39 grand? First of all, there's some kind of broker split or desk fee. The next thing is there's some costs, because whether you make $1 million a year or whether you make 30 grand a year, your cell phone costs pretty much the same. Your NAR dues are the same. Your car insurance is the same. Your health insurance is the same. Your expenses are, if you're $1 million in dollars a year person, or you make 40 grand a year, most of your expenses are the same. Hello? The good news with this person here, and I agree with a certain part of this, is they're kind of sticking it to the tax man. They're like, yeah, you're not the boss of me. I'm so broke, you're getting nothing from me. How do you like me now? Come on, Hillary. Come on, Donald. How do you like me now? Not sending my money to Iran.
He doesn't get into that on this one. We're gonna hang on. Let's do this one.
In our system, we say this: we're going to prioritize the people we work with, so we know where to focus our 20% to get our 80%. How many of you would like to know with certitude what my 20% is so I can get my 80%? Could I see your hands? That's what this first session is about. We're going to prioritize the people in our database so we can prioritize our schedule of who we spend our time with and what we do with them. That's as profound as an Irishman gets. We're going to prioritize the people in our database so we can prioritize our schedule and then apply our activities with this schedule to these people. So let me just go through this. The first thing you got to do is prioritize what we call your relational asset. We don't want to be transactional. We want to be relational. Okay, so you go, Brian, I have a database. There's people in there. I have no idea who they are. I understand. If I called them, they'd say, who are you? And I'd be like, well, who are you? I don't know you either. How'd you get in my database? And what's happened for many people, especially with social media, their databases have now crept to the point that it's an unweeded garden. And so now it's, you want me to work my database? It's overwhelming. Oh, by the way, I just bought a new neighborhood and I now have 15,000 more people. You're going in the opposite direction of the Pareto principle. If you want to make your business big, you make your focus small. Instead of the pray and spray approach, we're looking for the rifle approach. And this is your target. For those of you who are here for the very first time, and those of you who've been here many times, I want you to write all this down. Here's the definition of an A+. They're people who've sent you multiple referrals. These are the very best people in your database right here. Okay? Your A+ people. People who've sent you multiple referrals. They're a walking, talking billboard for you. Next, the A's, these would be people who would be most likely to refer you. An example of that, people who are past clients or really sold close friends and family members, like people who really are sold on you. Or maybe they've referred somebody who's referred you once in a while. So your A+, they're your advocates. How many of you have at least one advocate? Let me see your hands. Fantastic. How many of you have people who are close friends, family members, and past clients? Let me see your hands. Fantastic. In this system, you're going to apply the Pareto principle to give more of your time, more of your focus to your favorite people. B people, these are people who would refer you in the future if you asked them. Many of us operate as secret agents. We need to break the cone of silence. Why do realtors in a social setting not let people know they're a realtor? Come on, there's a legitimate reason. I don't want to be the pushy salesperson. I don't want to be that guy. I don't want to be that gal. Hi, I'm in real estate. Brought my flashing soul sign to the funeral. Somebody died. That means somebody's moving. That's why I'm here. Hanging around the maternity wards. Need a bigger home? I'm pushing right now. Can you come back in a few? We're going to teach you how to do this in a very subtle, appropriate, respectful way at what we call the gentlest of reminders, so you don't have to be the pushy, obnoxious salesperson. By the way, the new generation, the millennials, they hate the contorted sales pitch. And they can smell one a mile away because they grew up on infomercials. Are you guys hearing me? So I'm going to show you how to do this, but you've been in settings where you knew there was an opportunity to bring up your business and you didn't, and you let it pass. And you might have let a great opportunity pass. We're going to show you how to do it skillfully. See, folks, these are folks who might refer you in the future, new additions to your database. I would also put your social media network in there. And by the way, just so you know, social media is an essential for business. I've got people who have rejected it altogether. Old timers go, no, I want nothing to do with it, nothing. I don't believe in Facebook, nothing. I don't want to be doing any tooting, no. But I also have the contrasting people who go, no, I'm too busy to talk to my customers. I'm blogging right now. Okay? I'm on Farmville connecting with people. Are you with me? And so we're certainly not anti-technology at Buffco, okay? We've built the CRM systems and all those kinds of things. What I want to show you is that it's another vehicle. It's another methodology. It's another way to deliver value. It's another way to build relationships. Fantastic way. Fantastic way. And then D's, a very important classification, is people to be deleted from your database. People to be deleted. The French term, if you want to write it down, is called jackass.
Okay, I'm going to jump in there. We don't ever delete people, even if if you do a deal with somebody and as he puts the French term in there, they aren't the most pleasant people in the world. They are the most difficult client ever. You will be surprised the number of times those people refer you because you were a professional. You handled them professionally, whether you like them or not. There will be a time where they will call you with an opportunity. So that's why, and that particular video was done many years ago, and since then he's revised that where they're classified as a D, but we don't delete them. We don't spend any time marketing. If there's somebody you don't like, you personally didn't enjoy working with them, although you got the deal done, you're not going to want to go pop by their work or pop by their home and drop off things to them because they grate you the wrong way. But those people will surprise you and refer you to other people. And so to me, in my mind, there's no reason, because if you keep the notes on them and you get a voicemail or an email from that person, I will tell you, just the other day, I sold somebody a house in 2004 or 5. I got an email from them the other day. They've outgrown their house and need to sell and buy a new house. And so I referred them to one of our agents that's real familiar with their neighborhood that they live in. But I haven't talked to them. I haven't talked to them since 2006. Okay, literally. And they found my email online, and they said we know several different realtors, from our church and stuff, but we really didn't want to make somebody mad. So we thought we would go back to you since you sold us this house and see if you could help us. And we see that you're a broker now, so maybe you can't, maybe you can, and so that's literally what. But 2006, y'all, it's 2020 in COVID, and they reached out to me by email. So this stuff. So if I had been in touch, maybe I could have gotten referral. So I mean, they appreciated the effort and the time that I spent with them finding them the house that they bought. So you never, ever want to not stay in touch after the fact. Now, again, somebody that's a jerk, somebody who's, you just, was a pain to deal with, you don't need to market yourself to them. Yeah, I mean, you could drop them, an occasional something in the mail, if you monthly mailer, if you want to. But I'm a big believer, just like he is, where he talks about deleting them. We don't delete them anymore. But if that person reaches out to you, like Emily and Winston did the other day, if I had my notes, I could go back when I call them, say, hey, by the way, how, now it's been 16 years, okay, 15 years, their kids are teenagers and, going to college and stuff. So I have no reference as to, what they're doing. But if I had stayed in touch, I would know one of them's going to USC in the fall next year. And, I would know all these things, and it would be a conversation started when I call them back. Okay. Or if they, they leave me a voicemail, or I see them calling and I'm in the middle of a meeting, I have that thing on my phone where if I'm on the phone or in the meeting or something, I can send them a quick text message that says, I'll call you back, I'm in a meeting. I have that set up on my phone so that, boom, I send that, and then they know that I'm not ignoring their call. Because some people don't like to leave a voicemail. I don't know why, but that's just the way it is. So anyway, and Michael, I'm going to get back to those other two sources when we finish up with this. And then this is my favorite one. So just bear with me, y'all. Let me go back to inviting everybody online to watch this one.
I can't hear it. Am I supposed to hear it, Bill?
Oh, sorry. Sorry, I forgot to include the sound. My bad.
Your job is to love on them, and their job is to refer you. Now, how many of you, again, receive the marketing kit every month? You get the mailings and this and that. Many of you aren't aware, but inside this, after all these wonderful tools, in the back of this is this secret compartment. And inside this secret compartment, we actually give you 50 notes every month. And we break them up into 2 piles so they look smaller. And it takes a lot. It takes, boom, there we go, we're in business. And what we're looking for is a couple notes a day. You want to be in the top echelon of realtors? You want to make 10 times the national average? Write 2 notes a day. How many of you think you can write 2 notes a day? Yeah. None of the folks who are in our system raise their hands.
All right. So I'm just going to jump in here real quick. Back in the day, it was 5 a day. Then it went to 3 a day. Now he's down to 2 a day. Okay. I'm just saying, do this stuff. This is part, you should make this part of your plan. 2 a day is, y'all did 3 in 10 minutes. Okay, here in person. So I back in the day, I was like, because he talked about how he would do 10 a day. So I thought, oh, I want to be just like him. I'm gonna do 10 a day. And I had a part-time assistant at the time, and her job was to keep track of what I was doing every day, and part of my plan. At one point, I was 242 cards behind. I'd gone 20-something days without writing any note cards because I was too busy. So I didn't do 242 cards to catch up. I started back at 0 and recommitted myself to doing 5 a day. Okay, because 10 a day was, I couldn't get, and so when you can't do them all, then you don't want to do just a couple because you feel like so I just literally just let it pile up, and I was 242 cards behind. My best day ever was at a swim meet. My oldest son was swimming full time. If you've never been to a swim meet, y'all, it's the most aggravating thing in the world because your son or daughter, my son, would be in the pool swimming an event 35 seconds. Then there would be 2-hour lag. He would swim the next event, and he'd be in the pool for 1:15. Then the next event's 2 hours later, and he's in the pool for 45 seconds. So you are at a swim meet from 7:30 in the morning till 5 o'clock at night on a Saturday or a Sunday or both days sometimes. You have, and I'm like, I need to. So I would literally take my little kit with my note cards. And the best day I ever had was I wrote 58 note cards in one day. And I actually wrote the note cards to the people that were sitting around me that I had conversations with. there was one dad I had never met. He and I were talking. He's a financial planner. I'm like, oh my God, this guy knows all kinds of people. He might know some people that want some investment properties or might have some investment properties. So I literally wrote him a note card sitting next to him, and I put a stamp on it. Now, y'all, this is illegal, so don't do this. Whenever I went on an appointment and I wanted to impress somebody because I thought I told y'all when I go on a listing appointment, it's mine if I want it. It's mine if I want it. To guarantee that I get it, I would write them a handwritten note card. I would literally drive around the block, pull out my briefcase, grab a note card, write them a note card, put the address on it, put a stamp, drive back around the neighborhood, make sure nobody was looking, and I would throw the note card in the back of their mailbox. That's illegal, y'all. Federal law prohibits you from doing that. You need to put it in the mailbox. I'm just saying, okay? But I wanted them to get it in the next day's mail. I wanted literally to have something in their hands, not 2 or 3 days later. I wanted it the very next day. And the only time I ever got caught on that by the client was there was an agent who was a friend of a friend here in the office, and she wanted to get in the business. So she came by. She came by, and I said, "Oh, I'm going to put a note," because she lives right down the street from our old office. So the next morning, I drove by and threw it in the mailbox, and I called her just a couple days later to see how it was going. She goes, "By the way, was that you that put that in my mailbox?" And I was like, "Well, yeah." She goes, "I don't know you know this or not, but my husband's a postal inspector, and we were actually on our treadmill and our bicycle in our room over the garage and saw you do that. He told me to tell you not to do that anymore. That's illegal." I knew it was illegal, but I didn't know her husband was a postal inspector either. So I'm just saying, y'all, when he talks about this, you saw the impact of that one little post online. That's a huge thing. So anyway, we'll keep going.
Is this hard? Yes or no? Is it easy? Is it hard to do every day? No matter how well you answer this question, you're screwed. I understand. Here's the thing. Watch this. It's easy to do. The problem is it's easier not to. So I put my notes on my keyboard before I turn on my weapon of mass destruction every day. Because once you get on the computer, you're gone. Is that a true statement? I'm going to say this to you. This is a game changer. People love being appreciated and valued and thanked. And in the modern world today, this is even more powerful than ever before. If that makes sense, say aye. Here's how it shows up. People want to know how our clients have these great results. The average realtor's scratching around $39,000 in gross revenue, barely above the poverty line. 1.3 million people in this industry providing the American dream. It kills me. Here's Dan and Maria Odell. Last year, they wrote 1,223 notes. They closed 293 transactions, $80 million in volume, over $2 million in revenue. And you go, man, 1,200 notes. That's ridiculous. There's 2 of them. We give them 50 notes a month. How many is 50 notes a month by 12?
600.
Oh, God. Hopefully magic hasn't arrived. How many 50 by 12? 600. There's 2 of them. So they did the bare minimum. Whoa! Whoa! They're insane. 2 notes a day, each person, they're making $2 million a year. Loving on their clients. Building relationships with their customers. Not spending a fortune on advertising. How many of you like these numbers?
There are tons of, I'll say testimonials. There's tons of anecdotal information out there about handwritten note cards, whether they're thank you cards, thinking of you cards, whatever it is. And I actually have one on my Kindle on my iPad that I whenever I just need some inspiration to do this thing. George Bush, the first president, I never get the 2 of them right, so I just say George Bush, the first president, when asked what he gave most weight to him being elected, both as a governor or senator and then as president, was one of the top couple of things was actually writing thank you cards, writing thank you letters. Because everybody that ever donated to his campaigns, everybody that he ever met in person, he would write a thank you letter or a thank you note. And he gave that much weight to that kind of activity. And you think about that. Man was elected president, and he gave one of the biggest reasons for him being elected was writing thank you letters and thank you notes. That's pretty powerful. And when he shows these people doing that, I still, 1,223 note cards in a year sounds insane. You divide it by 2, you had 600. When you break it down per day, he's right. It's 2 or 3 a day. But the results and the fact that it's guaranteed to be opened and read is incredible. Okay. And he has dozens of stories, okay, from his career where people had the note cards years later. He talks about a lady reaching out to him and telling him that, Mr. Buffini, you don't know me. My name is Catherine Howell, and but my father was Ralph Howell. You helped him sell and buy his last 2 homes, and I wanted to let you know that he passed away. Okay, now, this is kind of, but I wanted to let you know that a note card that you wrote to my father was a place mark in his Bible. And he read his Bible every day. And we actually planned to read that note card at the funeral, but I wanted to let you know how much you meant to him. That kind of stuff gets to me. I mean, I'm like, oh my God, but I have had that happen in my past. I've had people who have and again, I don't write, I'm not writing, poems of or Shakespearean novels. I'm just writing 5 or 6 sentences to say, hey, I'm thinking about you. You're in my thoughts. I think it's amazing that you did this or that. Congratulations. I mean, there are thousands upon thousands of reasons. My son, who most of you may or may not, my youngest son played baseball in college. He was part of the team that went to the World Series at Coastal Carolina. He was named the MVP of that World Series. He won 3 games as a pitcher, and very proud of him. But when he was offered a scholarship to go play at Coastal, I wrote a thank you note to his high school baseball coach because he inspired him and actually motivated him to be the player that he was. Because when he was going from 8th grade to 9th grade, he had been he was a shortstop, a second baseman, and a pitcher. And the coach told him, look, you've been great on our B team, but just want to let you know that when you move up to the high school and you're on JV, that more than likely you're just going to be a reliever, and more than likely you're probably not going to get to play shortstop like you're used to because there's a lot of work that needs to be done. Well, that summer, my son played on a travel ball team, and he played every summer on a travel ball team. But he specifically wanted to work on his skills, and not just his shortstop skills, but also his pitching. So, over the years, he went to many different coaches for many different training sessions. We spent the money because it was his passion. This is what he wanted to do, and that speech or that talk with his coach after his 8th grade year motivated him, and he literally, as a JV player and then also a combination JV and varsity player, played either shortstop or pitched in every game that he played. So if he wasn't a starter, he was playing shortstop. He was never his first year, he was a reliever for the varsity team, and he set the Blythewood High School Bengals all-time saves lead. He had the highest number of saves of any pitcher up to that point, and he may still have that record. He set tons of records at Coastal Carolina, and he wasn't a big, hard, he's not tall like me, 6 foot. He weighs, when on a good day, when he's put on some weight, he weighs 170, maybe 175. but he's a very unique pitcher in that he can throw from two different angles. But I sent a note card to his coach because it meant the words he used, and he wasn't trying to degrade my son. He was just telling him the truth. It motivated my son to the point where he actually got drafted by the Kansas City Royals. He played in minor league baseball, made it to Double-A, and then COVID hit. So whether he goes back to baseball or not, in the air, he's got a baby now, lives in Myrtle Beach, and he has a real job. So I just used that as it was not an excuse, it was a reason to send a note card. And it was, I didn't send a note card to his coach all the time. That's not what you do. But anybody and everybody is entitled to getting some sort of accolades or praise or just thinking about you cards. So don't ever feel like you don't have a reason to send. He says 2 now, which drives me nuts because I think 3 just sets a tone. But I understand why he says 2 now because it's even less of a challenge. But if you know 50 or 60 people, if you do open houses every weekend or every other weekend, you're going to meet people. And even if they're working with another agent, I would send them a thank you for coming to my open house thing. And when you meet other realtors or you have realtors in our office that help you with this or that, dropping them. I mean, I know it sounds silly, but it just sets you apart from the average, And when he talks about that average, it always depresses me when you think about, like he said, 1.3 million, and that's realtors, y'all. That's not real estate agents. And they estimate that realtors are only half the population of real estate agents in the country. So if there's 1.3 million realtors, that means there's over 200, more than like 2.5 million real estate agents in the country. And when they say the national average is $39,900 in gross commission income, that's scary. That's really scary. So I don't want us to be the average. I don't want us to be the norm. I want everybody here pushing and striving to get to 6 figures. I mean, and whatever level of 6 figures you want to be, let's talk about it. And if you want to be that 7-figure agent, let's figure out how to get there, and let's work together to do it. But the basics are where you've got to start. And that's the easiest to start when you're brand new, is talking to people that that know you, and hopefully, will be willing to refer you to their friends, family members, and coworkers who might need your services. And then thanking them. And I tell everybody in the beginning, it may $50 gift card to a restaurant might be too much. So send them a $10 gift card to Starbucks. A $5. I used to do $5 gift cards, and I realized I was being too cheap. $5 gift card is a nice little thing, but if somebody's sending you a $200,000 buyer, whether they qualify to get a home or not, or $200,000 listing, the amount of money I'm going to make from that, if it goes through, and if I do my job and I get that sale and I make that thing happen, but I would also let them know along the way, hey, I want to thank you for sending me, Joe, and here's a little something, and I'm going to keep you apprised of what's going on. So, hey, you might drop them a text. I met with Joe yesterday. We figured out that he's good to go. We got 5 or 6 houses we're going to look at tomorrow night. I'll keep you apprised. Hey, we found a house. I mean, letting that person who referred you know what's going on is just as important, because that, I even did the point, again, because I was doing $5 gift cards, I would send them one when it closed, which, it turns out that was kind of stupid on my part. Just, again, thinking cheap. I was, everything's cheap. But, I really needed to, the thank you on the front end was the most important thing. Okay, so as soon as somebody sends you a referral, you need to send them a thank you card. And if you want to do a little something in there, a $5 gift card, $10 gift card, you can afford to do $25. I mean, we're not going to the movies like we used to, y'all, but the first time I ever got a $25 Fandango gift card from somebody, I helped out at one of the schools teaching a day of class because there weren't any instructors available. Somebody was having surgery. Somebody was out of town. They sent me a $25 Fandango gift card for just helping out. I was doing it for free, and I was happy to help because I love teaching and all that stuff. And I was like, my wife's like, ooh, we're going to the movies. I said, yes, ma'am. Okay. And we went to see when Wonder Woman came out, and it was in 3D. And she says, well, we got a gift card. We can go watch the 3D and get the glasses and all that stuff. Well, y'all, those tickets are like $18 a piece or something like that. And I was like, really? And then afterwards, she goes, well, it really wasn't worth doing the 3D because it, it was okay. But, but we had a gift card, so it wasn't going to cost us as much as her. Anyway, so y'all will figure out. I'm thrifty and cheap when it comes to y'all's money. When you have opportunities to spend money advertising and doing that stuff, I beg you to come talk to me first. I've tried it all. I will be very honest and open with you as to things that I think are worth the money and the things that I think are a waste of money, because you're not going to get any business from it. I'd rather you see you spend your time and your money, because it's hard-earned money, okay? This is not an easy business. Your hard-earned money doing things like pop buys, doing client appreciation parties, doing things like that. I think it's more important that you connect with the people that you know you, that trust you, to bring you business than to put your face in a golf guide or on a bus stop bench or a grocery store cart. Those things are not going to bring you dollars and cents. They may bring you a lead once or in a blue moon, but they are not going to generate business like your referral base, your database will over the long haul. All right, so Michael asked, what were the other two besides the relational? There's actually 5 columns of business that are out there. One is your database, and that's the number one and should always be your number one focus every day of your business. And as he said, when you're doing, you own a business, and then you have a job within your business. You need to spend at least an hour, if not 2, on your business every day, working on prospecting and lead generation. That is your business. That is the lifeblood of your business, and it will allow you to do your job. Your job is to go on listing appointments. Your job is to show houses. Your job is to write contracts, go to inspections, and go to closings. That is your job. Your business is lead generation. Lead generation, lead generation. So the other avenues to lead generate are open houses. I will tell you that there is a husband-wife team that moved here from, and I want to say Missouri, but I always get it wrong. It was either Missouri or Mississippi. I don't remember. They moved here, got into the business, brand new to town, brand new to the business. And the way they generated business and added people to their database and eventually built a very healthy sphere was they did an open house every Sunday, 2 straight years. Every Sunday for 2 straight years. Think about the amount of time and energy they spent, but they built their business to the point where they were making a whole lot of money. Okay, I tell the story. The other pillar, like I said, there's 5 pillars, 5 collars, 5 funnels of business is farming. Okay, farming a neighborhood, farming a geographic area. Patrick O'Connor, for those of you that don't know, Patrick O'Connor is the #1 real estate agent for the Carolinas, which is Charlotte, Columbia, Aiken, and Charleston. Last year, he gross commissioned $1.3 million, y'all. He did $45 million in business. He started 6 years ago. Well, now it's 7. Okay, so 7 years ago, this month or next month, I think. Brand new to the business, brand new in a way. He had family here in Columbia, but he had been in Chicago, Illinois as a music teacher. And then the department head of a music department. The way he started his business was he generated, printed out 1,500 newsletters a month and paper stuffed 1,500 newsletters a month, every month, to 1,500 households in Lexington. Month after 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 month. Never stopped doing it. Okay. $1.3 million in gross commission income last year after being in the business for just 7 years. And actually, he was only in business considering he's been doing this. In 2019, he did $1.3 million in gross commission after being in the business 5/6 years. Just saying, farming works. Okay, there's smart ways to do it, and then there's some crazy expensive ways to do it. We can talk about that. So, open house database, open houses, farming, expireds. Every week I print out and I hand out either here or I send out via email the expireds. The lists have been so small lately. I just show them at the meetings because we had 9 this past week. The week before I think we had 7. It used to be 20, 30, 50. 75 expireds. There's not as many. because houses are selling so fast, and if they do expire, they're being relisted so quickly that we really don't have much of an opportunity. But expireds, you can actually search the MLS for expireds in a neighborhood basically all the way back. I mean, the MLS keeps records about 10 years back. So you could literally go and search a neighborhood for 2019, 2018, 2017 of houses that were listed that expired, and then do the research to see if they ever were relisted and sold. So if somebody tried to sell their house in 2018 and weren't successful and hadn't put it back on the market and hadn't sold it, MLS will show us that. That would be somebody that you could reach out to in a specific neighborhood that you were interested in and say, hey, say you were trying to sell your house back in 2018, don't know what went wrong, but if you'd be interested, the market's so hot right now, we need houses to sell. That's another source, okay? And then for sale by owners, there are actually, we went through a real dry spell last couple of years because the market's been pretty good. People were listing their houses, not so many for sale by owners. Now that the market's so hot, the for sale by owners are actually selling, and the way they're selling is buyer's agents who are trolling certain neighborhoods because they know what neighborhoods their clients that they can't find a house are. They see that for sale by owner, and they call the for sale by owner and say, hey, so you got your house for sale by owner, are you willing to pay a buyer side commission? They go, yes, I'm bringing my buyers today. And I mean, literally, you know, I drive neighborhoods. I leave here in the afternoon and I drive 3 or 4 neighborhoods between here and my house. My house is 4.5 miles away. There are no less than 35 neighborhoods between my house and in this office that I can drive through. And I picked 3 or 4 on my way home just to drive. I go in the MLS and see what's newly listed or what's newly under contract. I just like driving to see the signs. I like to see how many signs there are and how many other signs there are. But also I'm looking for the red and white for sale by owner signs, because I have a couple of agents here in this office who will die trying to get that for sale by owner, and they'll follow certain techniques and things that we do to get that business. Okay. The problem is, you know, like there's one neighborhood, there was a for sale by owner for a very long time. Actually, one of our agents had a contract on it with their buyer as a buyer's agent. The deal fell through because of financing. They put the house back on the, you know, for sale by owner sign back up. Another house 10 houses away from them came on the market for sale by owner. I called the same agent that got one agent that wants that neighborhood for sale by owners. And I said, hey, this one, he called the guy, and the guy was $25,000 overpriced. Okay. I know when a house goes under contract, typically, if you're driving neighborhoods, you'll see the survey stakes come up. Okay. They're calling out and surveyed the house. This one happens to be on a corner. And so the for sale by owner sign was still up, but I saw the survey stakes, so I went, oh, that one went under contract. Another house between those two came on the market for sale by owner. Called the agent that wants that neighborhood, talked to them, and they were working with a buyer's agent who they were negotiating on a contract. So 3 houses within 10 houses of each other in one neighborhood came for sale by owner, and they all sold within the same month. Okay, so it's tough to get those right now in the market that we're in, but they're out there. You know, like I said, there were 9 this past Wednesday when I pulled the report. You know, so they are out there. It just, you know, they're not. You know, I don't think there were any in Area 4, which is the Northeast Columbia. There were a few in Lexington, a couple over in the Camden area. So, but you know, we can go anywhere, y'all. And when I was in the business, I went from Camden to Batesburg, Leesville, up to Newberry, down to Orangeburg. I didn't care. Let me go get the business. I don't care what price point it is. I didn't, you know, I wanted anything and everything I could get. So, Key, I see you have your hand up. Go ahead.
Yes, Bill, you spoke about open houses. If we were to like host open house, how do we go about volunteer to do that?
Okay, couple of ways to do that. Everybody that has listings in my office typically is willing to hold an open house or have you hold an open house. Everybody here wants to share. And if you think about it, if an agent has 5 or 6 houses listed on any given Sunday, they physically can only do one open house.
Right.
Because they can only sit in one house. So the agents in my office are everybody understands the game, and they want to look good in front of their sellers. So you hosting an open house for them is a good thing. Now, but I will counsel everybody in this room and everybody that's online, be picky and choosy in which ones you do. Don't pick a house that's out in the middle of nowhere, on a dirt road in the middle of nowhere, that's a mobile home that, pick houses that are in neighborhoods that are easy to access and
Okay.
in a price point that you want to be in. Okay. If you want to be in the 200s, don't do a house that's 100. If you're not comfortable talking about a $500,000 house, don't go hold that house open. Pick and choose. Now, understand the market's so hot, okay? You need to be planning your open houses basically 2 Sundays in advance or 2 Saturdays in advance, because if you said on Thursday, I want to hold this open house, you want to print out flyers, you want to put it on the MLS, you want to put it out there. You need to plan, okay?
Okay.
So when you contact that agent about that house in Lake Carolina today for next weekend, it may not be available. So you need to just be in touch with that. And again, our agents in this office are very much willing to share. They're very much willing to help. And it's super easy to print flyers with your picture and information for every house that's out there. So yeah, you can do that any and every weekend that you want. Just be aware that sometimes these, the houses literally selling in hours, especially in the basically from 0 to 200,000, they're selling almost the same day they get on the market. So just, be aware of that. Okay, that's a good question. Go ahead.
So, farming in the neighborhood, do you ever have to worry about, like, I guess, agents within the same office trying to farm the same neighborhood?
All right, so the question is, if I'm farming a neighborhood, do I need to worry about other agents that might be farming that neighborhood? I would say yes, because if somebody's really hot and heavy on a neighborhood and they're really spending time and money and they've been listing a lot of houses, it's going to be tougher for you to crack that. But there are tons of neighborhoods out there, okay? And there's a certain methodology or reasoning behind every neighborhood that you want to farm. You want to farm a neighborhood that has at least 150 or 200 homes, and you want to farm a neighborhood that's turning anywhere between 6 and 10% of the houses every year. Okay, and that's all that data is in the MLS, and I can show you. It's very simple to figure out. And if it's turning that many houses a year, I use Willow Lake as an example. I had an agent who joined us a couple years ago. Didn't work out with him, but because I really thought he would jump on it. The neighborhood was turning 25 houses a year. Willow Lake. Willow Lake has about 300 and something homes, so just less than 10% of the houses were turning, which is a good number. Okay, but there are only 2 houses on the market. So literally, if you think about it, 25 divided by 12, that's 2 houses a month we're selling. There are only 2 houses available. That's a neighbor that is prime for farming and knocking on doors and letting people know now's the time to sell. There's only 2 houses on the market. We're selling 25 houses a year in this neighborhood. If you've been thinking about selling, we need to talk. Okay. And then
And what neighborhood was that again?
That was Willow Lake in the Northeast. And Kia, I can give you anybody that wants neighborhoods to farm, I will help you pick and choose those, because there are tons of them out there. Okay. Now, you don't want to go talk to everybody in that neighborhood, because number one, that would take a lot of time. All right. But you can go into a couple of the resources that we have through Coldwell Banker to see who's been in their houses for how long. If somebody's been in their houses 2 or 3 years, more than likely they're not a candidate to sell. Okay. Somebody that's been in their house more than 5, 7, 10, 15 years, it might be time. So that's, back in the day, back in 2005, 2006, the average years spent in a home by the average homeowner in America was 4.5 years. So we targeted people, 5, 6 years. Then it went to 7, 8 years, and now it's about 9 years is the average, because the economy, when it blew up, it turned people upside down. The stock market crashed. People don't have the retirement funds that they did back then. Things are coming around, but that 5-year mark is about where we want to start looking at people that might be candidates. There's so many resources between what we offer, between the MLS, between the tax records. You can narrow that search to that specific, let's say Willow Lake, to 100 homes. You can farm those 100 homes in a couple of different ways. Putting newsletters in their paper box, mailing them stuff. Again, if I can do something for free, you can print all the newsletters you want here and stuff their paper tubes. Why would you stick it in the mail? You're going to spend 50 cents a piece. That's $50. I mean, you can do some of that, but again, you all know I'm cheap, okay? Knocking on doors and having information and talking to people, you're not soliciting. You're just going around giving them information. Having something printed with, with your information and the information about the neighborhood is a way to get in front of them and introduce yourself. And Sandra isn't on the call today, but I told her we would record this, and we went door knocking in Shandon a couple of weeks ago. There's a specific street in that neighborhood. It's nearby where she lives, and she wanted to go knock on doors on that street. She had picked out the addresses of people who had been there at least 4 or 5 years, and we went and knocked on 8 doors on a Wednesday afternoon at 3 o'clock, and we talked to 5 homeowners. Now, none of them were ready to sell, okay, which is fine. We talked to 2 different people that were walking their dogs, and we talked to a guy working in somebody's yard. She had never thought that you could do those things. I went, the guy not walking, I said, why not? She goes, well, you're not talking to him at his house. I said, I don't care. He's walking the dog. He probably knows other people in the neighborhood as well. He probably lives in the neighborhood. You're not going to walk your dog in a neighborhood you don't live in, right? And as it turns out, we ended up talking to 8 different people, 8 different individuals. And she actually got 2 opportunities because one of the homeowners wasn't looking to sell, but he knew somebody who owned a couple of houses on the next street over that were rental properties. And he's a doctor, and he gave us the guy's name so she could go hunt him down and ask him, because the guy had said, Dr. whatever his name is, has been talking about selling those 2 houses over there for the last couple of years. I was like, holy shit, write that down, because you find that doctor and you contact him and say, hey, Mr. So-and-so at whatever, and, get in front of the doctor. That's how, I say it's simple, y'all. It really is. What it is you've got to have the intestinal fortitude to jump into it and do it. Just like holding open houses. The reason you do open houses is to get people into your database. It's not to sell the house, y'all. Less than 7% of all houses in America sell from an open house. The reason we hold open houses is to add people to our database. Maybe pick up a client, maybe pick up a lead, because a lot of people come and they're just looking in that neighborhood. They have a house to sell. Well, again, there's another opportunity. That's why when people come in the house, we ask them questions. We have them fill out a guest registry. And a lot of people have trouble asking for them to do that. And I tell everybody the reason you do it is you tell them for security reasons. The homeowners ask that we get your information before we let you take a tour of the house for security reasons. Okay, that's one of the greatest things I ever do. When y'all, I used to chase for sale by owners for a living. Okay, I literally made my living chasing after for sale by owners. And then somebody showed me that the gold mine that is and was expired, because I could do the same exact thing I did with for sale by owners to people who were willing to pay a commission because they were expired. They were actually in the MLS. But for sale by owners, one of the things I would offer was I had a for sale by owner help kit that had all kinds of information for somebody that wanted to sell a house, copy of contracts, copy of property disclosure, and then a guest registry. And I would always ask, I say, look, I've got this for sale. If you'd let me come tour your home, I will bring my for sale by owner help kit just for you to use, while you're in the process of trying to sell real estate. Because being a real estate agent is more than just putting a sign in the yard. And they would laugh, say, well, I'm not in the real estate business. Well, yeah, you are. You listed your house. You put a for sale by owner sign in the yard. By the way, one of the things, do you get the people's information when they come to see your house? And they say, what do you mean? You say, well, do you ask for their, not only their name, but their home address and their email address? No. Well, you probably should do that. Why? Well, because you don't know who you're showing the house to. When you tell somebody, well, I can show it to you during my lunch hour or after 5, you've just told them nobody's home. So what if it's somebody that's not a good person? I'm telling you, for security reasons, you need to have that information. And I've got a guest registry that I'm happy to share with you as part of my for sale by owner help kit. So if I could come tour your home, well, I'm not going to list it with you. I know. But in the market that we're in, we need to know the inventory. Your house is basically part of our inventory. You're part of our supply. We've got so many buyers we're working with right now that we can't find homes for. I would love to come take a look at it, and maybe we've got a buyer that the house would be right for. Well, once you bring the buyer, well, I want to just come see the house first, see if it meets any of our buyers' needs, You know, because it's just not me. There are 86 agents in my office, and a lot of them are working with buyers right now. So I'd love to be able to, you know, share the information about your house. If you don't mind, I'll come over and take a look at it. Give me 15 minutes to tour the home, take some notes, and I'll be out of your hair. And in trade, I'll bring you my for sale by owner hip kit. I never got a no. All I want to do is tour your home. I'm not going to list. I didn't say I wanted to list your house. I don't even know if I like your house. You know, if you want to be snarky back, I mean, you gotta have some intestinal fortitude here, y'all. Okay, but using salesman-y techniques without sounding like a salesman, I just want to come tour your home. Right now, in the market that we're in, we don't have enough houses on the market. Yours is on the market. I need to see it, see if it might suit one of our buyers' needs. And then when I'm there, I'm going to be asking questions like, so what brought you to this house? Why did you buy this house? What do you love about this house? I'm asking listing agent questions without trying to get the listing. Okay. So where are you going? Why are you selling? Okay. I'm going to get more information. Well, I really appreciate your time and energy. By the way, have you had anybody do a market analysis on your home to see if you're priced right where you are compared to what other houses are going for in your neighborhood? I can do that for you for free if you don't mind. Won't cost you anything. And I'm, again, not here trying to get your listing. I just wanted to see the house. But, you know, the price you have, I'm not sure if you're right, you know, right for the market. You may be priced too low. You might be priced too high. But I'd love to do a free market analysis for you. Okay. Oh, yeah, sure. Oh, that'd be great. So what's the first thing I do when I get back to my office? Write him a thank you card, do the market analysis, and follow up. And I actually had an 8-week track for every for sale by owner that I went. And I would keep track. I would have a list of 10 or 12 of them. Okay. And I would keep track of where I was. You know, visit, or phone call, visit, thank you card, market analysis, phone call behind the market analysis, make sure they got it. Okay. Because what we knew back in the day was every for sale by owner, 9 out of 10 would list with an agent if they didn't sell with themselves. 9 out of 10. So if I have 10 or 12, I got a pretty good shot at most of those. Okay, but I would be in front of them 8 weeks in a row. Okay, then I expanded that to a 12-week track, and you kind of rinse and repeat a couple of the things throughout the mix. But that's where I was getting my listings. Okay, then you turn that on to expireds, and you do the same kind of thing, just a little bit different. You got to just, you know, because again, they've been with an agent. They're mad. Their real estate agent didn't do anything right according to what they, you know, when you look at the price and you know, yeah, you were $25,000 over the market value. So, you know, I'm going to call and say, you know, I've seen you had your house on the market for the last 6 months and, you know, didn't have any success. I would love to, you know, talk to you about possibly putting it back on the market. Oh, you guys are all the same, blah, blah, blah. You know, everybody's calling me. I understand. But I do, you know, here at Coldwell Banker, we do things a little bit differently. You know, the marketing plan that I put in effect for your house. But first, I'd like to come see it. And then I'll do a market analysis to see where you are priced. Oh, you guys are all the same. Blah. Okay. I just want to come see the house. Would you mind doing that? And if we had a buyer that was, you know, that was interested, would you be willing to sell your house? Are you still interested in selling your house? Well, do you have a buyer? I don't know. I haven't seen the house yet. You know? So there's tons of talk tracks. There's tons of ways to do this stuff. And there's a bunch of videos online. You can go YouTube. You can go, there's tons of stuff. In our Sales Pro link on my desk, there's, if you go into Sales Pro, there's actually a video done by our executive VP she runs Maine to Florida over to Texas. Okay, so all the Coldwell Banker Realty offices from Maine to Florida to Texas are under Kate Rossi's purview. Kate Rossi got into the business back in 1978. I think it's right. Yeah, 1978. She was a newly divorced mom of a 2-year-old. And so she got into this business and she had to make money. So she dove into this thing and she chased for sale by owners and expireds day and night. And her talk track is, I've watched the video probably 7 or 8 times in the last 4 years. But it's all about going after those people and going after that category of people, and the things to say and how to approach it. And again, it takes a little bit of intestinal fortitude to say some of the things that she said, but she got to the point where in her first year she listed over 74 properties and did 140 something her second year.
What's her name?
Kate Rossi, Rossi. And I don't remember the talk track, but the two of them together, I think, are an hour and a half. and I think in the third class, I'm going to play it because it's where I had success when I got into the retail side of this business or the resale side of this business, and you stepped away from new construction. I had to find a source for listings because I didn't have builders that I was working for. So it's what I went after for sale by owners because they were all over the place, and I made an effort. Back in the day, y'all, we didn't have GPS on our phones, and they had just come out with the TomTom things that you put in your car. I had map books, so every time I would go on an appointment, I would leave an hour earlier than I needed to be, where I needed to be, whether I was showing houses or going on a listing appointment, and I would drive neighborhoods I'd never been in. And when I say I went from Camden, I actually went from Cassett, which is 18 miles the other side of Camden on US 1, to Batesburg, Leesville, up to Newberry, down to Orangeburg. If I was going on an appointment, I wanted to research the area. I wanted to get to know the surrounding areas so that if somebody asked me, I need to look at, can you actually show me houses on Lake Murray? Which side of Lake Murray do you want to be on? Because I knew there was a Chapin side, Prosperity side, Irmo side, Lexington side, Saluda. Okay. I knew those because I would have somebody and I would go drive every one of those little fingertips on. If you look at Lake Murray, there's all these little fingertips out into Lake Murray. I drove every one of those. I had map books for Lexington County. I had map books for Richland County, and I actually carried 3 of each in my car because I would hand the person sitting in the front seat and the person in the back seat so they could follow us wherever we were going. And that way they knew again, now we're in a different age, but I would literally, and when I'm driving around, I wasn't just getting to know the area. If I saw a red and white sign down a street, I'm driving down and get the information off that sign. If they had flyers in their flyer box, because sometimes they did, sometimes they didn't, I would even, if they didn't, I would call them and say, you don't have any flyers left in your flyer box. You need me to print you some? Y'all, I did all kinds of stupid, crazy stuff, but that's what you got to do to go after this business and be, out there. So we're almost at the 3-hour mark. Does anybody have any questions or comments? I'd love to spend a little bit of time, do a Q&A.
Is the best way to learn an area to just get out and drive?
Absolutely. Is it? Well, yes and no. Going out and drive, because you can look something up on the MLS. You can look up every neighborhood, okay? But you can't see the neighborhood for what kind of neighborhood it is. And I say this to say that. There's some neighborhoods where you drive and people park their cars in their yards. They got cars stacked on top of one another. They don't take care of their yards. Is that a neighborhood that you want to farm? Okay. Because it's going to be tougher to, especially if it's the first couple of houses when you drive into a neighborhood. But I like driving neighborhoods because, not only am I looking for sale by owners, but I just like to see what's going on. And I can see that on MLS. I can see the houses that are listed. But if I drive through a neighborhood and I like it, it will then motivate me to look it up online. What's been happening in the last couple of years? How many houses have sold? How many houses are in that neighborhood? Because I might not drive. Most neighborhoods have a main drive-in and then streets coming off of them. I have a really good eye for red and white for sale by owner signs. So and just hanging signs. Okay. So as I'm driving down, I'm not driving each finger off of a main road. I'm just looking down and see if there's any, just looking. And if you ask me what neighborhoods I haven't driven lately, it's probably half of Lake Carolina. Because Lake Carolina is a little bit out of my way to go home, but everything on this side of Hardscrabble Road, I've driven in the last year for sure. Okay, and just because. But when I was working with clients, not only did I want to get familiar where we were going to go look if we're going to spend some time in the neighborhood, but I also wanted to see what else is going on in the neighborhood, because if there's a for sale by owner, and now with all the tools we have, if you see a for sale by owner or an expired, I teach and preach don't go after just one in that neighborhood. Let's look and see on that particular street how long those people have lived there and what price point, and you can find out if if they've just refinanced their house, there's probably no equity. So selling it's going to be kind of tough. You can look at and see all that stuff. So if you find one for sale by owner or one expired on a street, let's look around it so you're not just spending your time on one, but maybe 3 or 4 on that street. Okay. Yeah. So driving around is one way. You can do a lot of that with Google Earth as well. Drive the streets on Google Earth. But I like, again, I have a hybrid, so it doesn't cost me a whole lot of gas. So, what other questions? Anything?
This is more or less like a future-related question, but as for like farming, I want to start doing newsletters.
Yep.
But I'm not super comfortable with doing CMA, so I didn't know if you had a class coming up for you.
I do CMAs. We'll do those. Yeah. And I'm always happy to help with that stuff. Okay. I've actually got a publisher file. Hang on. For those of you online, hang on a second. I'm going to pull this up. So anybody that, come on. There we go. Maybe. Can you all online see the newsletter?
No, I can't.
All right. For some reason, it's not pulling up. All right, so I'm not saying, oops, where'd it go? Hang on. Why are you giving me such a hard time? Now let's try it. All right, hang on, y'all. I'm getting there. Eventually, I'll get there. There, can you see it now?
No. Oh, yes.
Okay. All right. So again, this is something that I created, and I've got a template on my computer. If you've got Publisher, I'm willing to share it. If you don't have Publisher, then I'm willing to help you with it. But it literally is a 4-page newsletter that fits on an 8.5 by 14 sheet of paper. We have stacks and stacks of 8.5 by 14 pieces of paper. It prints front and back so that you can actually fold it. And then if you want to fold it again, you can actually have this as your mailing one, or you can have the front page here. And literally what I've done, this was one I did for an agent that was farming a neighborhood downtown. And so there was an article, again, I share. I mean, I'm willing to share articles that other people have online and give credit to them. You can see this one's from Barron's, and I just copy and pasted it. And then David Hakimi wrote the 3 real estate myths television has taught us. So that was part of this one. And then you can see here's the information from August 2020. I'm talking about doing the CMA. So in Forest Acres from January 1 to August 18th, 100 houses sold, price from 40,000 to 488, and the average market was. So that's all information from the MLS, and just giving them that, and then the agent's information, and then there was some things about yard care that she wanted to put in there, and then she had a featured home that was listed in Forest Acres, and then her contact info. And again, because we're with Coldwell Banker, you can print all this stuff in color for free. Okay. And again, I like the 8.5 by 14 because it's foldable and foldable. So you can fold it into a pamphlet, stuff paper tubes, or put them in people's doors, or hand them out to people. And here's some information about what's going on in real estate. And under COVID, we had this was all about pandemic and all that stuff, and then some myths. And again, if you have articles that want to be put in here, I've got a couple of agents who love these things and do them on a regular basis. I'm happy to produce them, and I can send you the PDF. The problem is the PDF doesn't print like Publisher does front and back on an 8.5 by 14. PDF prints individual pages, and so then you'd have to have 4 pages or do 2 double-sided and then staple them together. Again, it's just to me less work, less fuss, less muss. So yeah, so this is one. I've done a bunch of these for agents in our office. So if you're interested and want them, or want to know how to do them, it's really super simple. And again, I use Publisher for this particular product. Y'all don't have Publisher. You may have Publisher yourself, but our Office 365 has PowerPoint and Word and Excel and Outlook and all that stuff. It doesn't have Publisher as part of your package. So I have that because I've used it for years and years, because I've been doing these things for years and years. And so I just finally said, I should just open it up if any of the agents want to use them. You're more than welcome to do that. If you do the research ahead of time, it makes it a whole lot easier for me to put this section together. But if you're not sure, let's do it together, and we can look and analyze the marketplace. I knew Forest Acres would be hot and heavy, so I didn't do a full year. Some neighborhoods it's better to do a full year because 25 homes sold or 30 homes sold, where in 6 months it might have only been 10 or 15, and it doesn't seem like there's such an urgency when there's 2 houses. So looking back for a full year sometimes is better, but it would have been a whole lot more. But look at this. In Forest Acres on August 18th, 100 homes sold in the first 7.5 months. 14 were under contract that day, and there were only 17 homes in all of Forest Acres for sale. Think about that. Okay, 17 homes for sale, and 100 were had sold in the first 7.5 months. So literally, that's 10 houses a month that were selling, and there's only 17 available total. So this is a neighborhood. She lives in this neighborhood, and she knows a lot of people. So she took 200 newsletters, went out there and stuffed paper tubes of houses that were most likely to be listing. So anyway, it just, again, for farming purposes, we've got all kinds of, you can print different newsletters from different sources throughout our system. If you want something a little more personalized, you can do that. And we're here to help, whatever we can do. So any other questions? Anybody online? Going once? It's look at that, 102. I did really good today. Wow. All right, y'all. Thanks for being online. I'm recording this, so if you need a recap, need me to send you the link, please let me know. And otherwise, I appreciate everybody being here. Have a great weekend, and hopefully we'll see you sometime next week. Bye.